knowledge about the product. Opinions expressed should not be relied upon for any purpose by any member of the audience. News Radio KDKA does not guarantee the accuracy of any of the information heard on the preceding program.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 57 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 7 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. A man is in custody this morning after barricading himself inside a home in Donora. Incident happened around 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon at a home on McCrae Avenue. Police and the SWAT team were called in to help get the man out. He eventually surrendered to police. It's unclear what originally led police to that home. An armed man was shot and killed outside the White House on Saturday evening. Here's the latest from ABC News.
It happened as ABC News was on the White House grounds, covering another story. Selena Wang was in the middle of a report on the North Lawn when the story suddenly changed.
President Trump has said a deal is close, only for the two sides to remain far apart.
Wang and her crew were taping a story when they heard what sounded like gunshots just steps away. They immediately took cover after hearing people yelling for them to sprint to the White House briefing room.
Sources tell ABC News the gunman was known to the Secret Service and under a court order to stay away from the White House. A man was arrested Saturday, charged with burglary and aggravated indecent assault. Pittsburgh police arrested 29-year-old Charles Willis. Police say he confessed to the crimes that were committed in Oakland on Saturday morning at a residence in the 3400 block of Parkview Avenue. Willis also faces loitering, indecent assault, prowling at nighttime, and harassment charges. He's being held in the Allegheny County Jail. KDK Radio News Time, it's 7:03. Let's get to the AccuWeather forecast next.
What if you could buy a flippable two-sided mattress made with the finest materials that cost less than other luxury brands? This is Greg Trzynski of the Original Mattress Factory, and this is exactly what you'll find with our new Orthos line available exclusively at OMF. We build these by hand using premium materials like wool and cotton. It's old-world craftsmanship with modern comfort, our most extraordinary sleep system. Built locally at a price other luxury brands just can't match. Visit the Original Mattress Factory and experience the Orthos line for yourself.
If you're the type of person who looks for high-quality products at a fair price, we would love for you to consider the Original Mattress Factory. All of our beds are hand-built in local factories using only the best materials. Because we sell factory direct, we eliminate the middleman markup, which allows us to offer great beds at a great value. If you hate games and gimmicks, we think that you'll find our honest, transparent approach refreshing. Stop by one of our locations today to experience the Original Mattress Factory difference for yourself.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Today brings clouds and a morning shower, then afternoon steadier rain with a thunderstorm, the high 73. Watch for showers and a thunderstorm continuing tonight, low 62. Then a spotty shower for Memorial Day tomorrow, otherwise clouds with a high of 78. Then sunshine filtered through high clouds Tuesday, high 83. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It's time to get greened. Doug Oster is here. All natural, no pesticides, no artificial ingredients. The Organic Gardener is on 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Yes, he is. The Organic Gardener, Doug Oster, DougOster.com. Right now, if you're the 10th caller at 412-922-1020, you win yourself a $25 gift certificate to Sorgel's. Great guest coming up. Lots of time to call in, get all of your garden questions answered as well. But he's up and running with a lot of information, so let's welcome Mr. Doug Oster to the program. He's made famous, the Organic Gardener, every Sunday in this time slot on KDKA. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, my guest after the first break is Rhonda Fleming Hayes. She's the author of Garden for Life, Strategies for Easier, Greener, More Joyful Gardening as We Age. I love this book. Even when I saw the title, I was like, please send me this. I want to read this, and I'm just blown away by it because I've never, I see garden books every day. And a lot of them are just like the same thing over and over again. This is not. This is really cool. Time to plant everything. Mom said Memorial Day, and it's Memorial Day, but still cool, Rob.
I was thinking we were close last night when I woke up at about 2 in the morning. I said, if it's not at that freezing mark, it's close. I was thinking about plants last night, so that's how far I've come in this industry.
That's so enlightening to hear.
I know, honestly. I'm thinking, maybe Doug's right. We should hold off, but I'm thinking it's Memorial Day weekend.
I have not planted my tomatoes or peppers yet. Would you, if I gave you a big container, would you grow a tomato or not?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, we'll put something
I'm not
together.
going to tell you no. I mean, I've been with you for decades, longer than any.
I think I'll figure out like a bush tomato or something for you where you won't have to do anything except water it. That's all you have to do, and that's only when it's really dry.
I can do that.
And we'll see if we can make it work. I'd love for you to have your own. I know how much you love tomatoes, and
I do.
I'm very protective of mine because we eat everything that grows in the garden, and so I only bring you them once a year, and yes, you appreciate it.
Let me put this in perspective, and I'll make it quick. So I've been caught up in a bunch of stuff this weekend because of what I do on the radio, a lot of moving parts. But Memorial Day weekend, obviously, special connection, especially we being baby boomers, parents' greatest generation. So I've been watching a lot of stuff over the last week, kind of getting ready for the weekend and the show on Monday night, tomorrow night, beginning a little earlier after the news at 5. How about this, that during the Depression, people would wait for vegetable trucks to drive by and stuff they would be throwing in the garbage because it had basically run out its course. They would take it out of the trash and go through it just to see what they could actually prepare or eat for their family. I was saying earlier on the program today, and this is why I respect what you do and so many gardeners do, people did not garden for hobbies back during the Depression, World War I, World War II. They were doing it to actually live. So I think we need to put it in a very proper perspective.
Yeah, I would think that, all the way into the 60s and 70s, people were doing that. And later, actually, when you think about it, when you think about 9/11, nobody wanted to leave their house. And so they wanted their own food. When the economic collapse of 2006, people were growing their own food. So it has gone further than that. Whenever things get bad, people want to grow their own food, and for us, it's a luxury, but for them, it's a necessity. It's a luxury to be able to grow 20 different types of tomatoes and experiment with weird ones. But when you're growing for the family, you've got to go with a variety is going to produce that's bulletproof, because that food is needed. And if you look back, it's kind of interesting, Rob, that you bring that up. The history of Pittsburgh, the first garden was at Fort Pitt, and they would grow like 3 times more than they thought they needed, because assuming there'd be a crop failure or something like that, and it was like potatoes and cabbage, things that would store all winter. And so, as I said, now, for most of us, it's a luxury.
It is. And, the other thing, too, we learned so much from the Native Americans, and sadly, we didn't treat them as well as we should have, obviously. But also with a lot of those immigrants who came through Ellis Island, the thing that they could not believe, how you could go into like a grocery store and actually pick things off the shelf.
Yeah. Again, another funny story. When I worked in Medina for the paper, they had like an exchange program, and the people came over from Russia. This is early 80s. And they thought that the entire grocery store and everything was a setup, that this couldn't be possible, that all this stuff, I was actually telling Frank the other day when I went to his store, I walked every aisle.
Coons Market.
Yeah, just looking for stuff for Mother's Day. And I was blown away by like, you mean if you need to change your oil, you can get stuff here. There was like stuff I never expected to see in the grocery store, and so when those kids from Russia came over, it took a lot of convincing to tell them that no, this isn't all a setup. This is how we live.
How amazing we live.
Yeah,
we're so fortunate.
Well, I want to tell you about 2 seats have just opened up for next month's trip to Poland. I had 2 cancellations, and if you've ever thought about going to Poland, this is the time to do it, because the prices for this trip is set in stone, and it was made, a year ago. And so the price for travel has skyrocketed with the price of gas, of course. And so this is a bargain. And we are going to see Warsaw, Krakow, 4 amazing gardens in Poland. Our last day, we're actually seeing Auschwitz. And so it's an amazing trip. If that interests you, just go to DougOster.com and see if the trip is right for you. This rose is blooming in my garden, and it's called Gertrude Jekyll. And that is the name of a famous English author and gardener, and that years ago I became obsessed with and read all her books and just think it's amazing. Well, David Austin Roses named a rose for her, and Gertrude Jekyll is from the David Austin Company. I love David Austin roses because they're the old-fashioned flower, and they all have fragrance. I grow roses that don't have a lot of fragrance, but this one, I cut some of the blooms, and I put them in a vase, and I put them in the dining room, and all through the house, you can smell this flower. And I'm lucky enough to do these traveling trips, and last year when I was in London, I had a traveler with me, and we walked through this garden called Kew Gardens, and they had all these David Austin roses, and we smelled every one. And I'm telling you what, Gertrude Jekyll, top 3, maybe, yeah, right around there. I mean, it's just amazing. Now, because it's an older introduction, it's not as disease resistant as the new ones. It will get black spot, but we can deal with that. Just getting these blooms and this amazing fragrance. On the show, like maybe 10 years ago, I had a guy named Michael Marriott on from London, and he used to be the head rosarian at David Austin Roses. And one of his things was testing these new introductions for their fragrance. And so we talked about the new introductions, but then I asked him, since I grow it, I said, what about Gertrude Jekyll? And he goes, when it comes to fragrance, like, he repeated, like, it's not the modern disease resistance that we have today, but the fragrance is unbeatable. And it's a rose that will bloom in not full sun. And so for me, that's perfect. Mine is actually popped up and is being supported because they kind of get leggy in my garden because I don't have the sun that they need, but it's leaning on a pawpaw tree. And actually that pawpaw tree has to go. The two trees popped up in the vegetable garden when I planted seeds like 5 years ago, and I never moved them, but now they're getting too big. Okay, next Sunday, that's the big day for the plant swap and giveaway. Next Sunday, 1 p.m. at Sorgel's. If you're going to do this, if you're coming to the plant swap, you want to get free plants, the Limbaugh Legacy potato top plant. Be there at 1 o'clock. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to swap plants. You're not going to be able to get these free plants because it goes quick. And after that event, those 20 minutes, we're going to have a little short pepper palooza. I am going to talk about these really cool peppers. A couple of them are super hot. The other ones are hot, but not too hot. My favorite one to talk about, which they're going to sell really cheap, is Thoris Thunderbolt because it has the dark purple foliage, and when the peppers get ready, they're like peach colored. And even if you don't love hot, this is one of the most beautiful plants. And so I'm bringing in a bunch of other peppers to give away, some mildly hot ones, and also some sweet peppers. So all that information is at DougOster.com. The plant swap is so much fun. So I hope you'll be able to come next Sunday, 1 o'clock.
All right, short break. We'll come back. Stay with us. Doug Oster, DougOster.com, the Organic Gardener, back in minutes on KDKA. Good morning.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
News Radio, KDKA, Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Quality Foods, with 8 locations to serve you a Pittsburgh tradition. Bucks lose again to Toronto 5-2. Paul Skeens took the loss. Pirates, Toronto again today. 12:15 first pitch, 93.7 The Fan. Pitt Panthers were eliminated from the ACC Baseball Championship after falling to the number 2 seeded North Carolina Tar Heels, the final 13-5. Alex Ballou secured the pole position for the 2026 Indianapolis 500. He's driving the number 10 car, and he is the defending champion, and he drives for Pittsburgh native Chip Ganassi. And Tyler Reddick, part of the Michael Jordan race team, will start the pole for the Coca-Cola 600 that's coming up later in Charlotte. On the ice, 3-2 overtime win for Carolina. They even up their series with Montreal at 1 game apiece. And the New York Knicks have now won 10 straight playoff games as they defeated Cleveland 121-108. They are up 3 games to none. Siwoo Kim is at 21 under, and Scotty Scheffler and Wyndham Clark are 2 shots off the pace at 19 under as we head to the 4th and final round of the Byron Nelson. More sports, 93.7thefan.com.
Thinking about starting weight loss treatment? GoodRx is here to help. We offer FDA-approved GLP-1 medications prescribed by licensed providers, including the Wegovy tablet, with straightforward pricing and pickup at your local pharmacy or delivery to your door. All from America's #1 prescription app. Go to goodrx.com/weight-loss to get started. GoodRx is not insurance. Cancel anytime. #1 prescription app ranked by a third-party study.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from IQ Bar. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at eatiqbar.com/policy/terms of service.
Most protein bars are packed with sugar, carbs, and unpronounceable ingredients. There's a much better option. I'm Will, and I crafted IQ Bar plant protein bars with clean, functional, delicious ingredients to empower doers like you with superior brain and body fuel.
Now you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping when you text radio to 64,000. That's radio to 64,000.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
For a beautiful garden that's healthy and safe, use Dramatic Organic Fertilizers by Dram. It's the organic choice to produce brilliant fruits and vegetables that are healthy for your family. And because it's all natural, it's safe for barefoot fun and playful pets. Available at your local garden center or nursery. Ask for Dramatic Organic Fertilizers. Visit us online at dram.com. Dramatic Organic for dramatic results.
In Pittsburgh, Chase is proud to root for the home team because they're our team too. We cheer from the bleachers and on the sidelines. We cheer for gymnasts and quarterbacks. And with more than 25 local Chase branches and 5,000 nationwide, we are right beside you, Pittsburgh. Neighborhood bankers, digital tools, national strength. Chase, make more of what's yours.
JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Doug Oster tells you how to keep it green. The Organic Gardener is on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
I'm joined this morning by Rhonda Fleming Hayes. She's the author of Garden for Life, Strategies for Easier, Greener, More Joyful Gardening as We Age. And Rhonda, I think it is an awesome book. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thanks for having me this morning.
So what inspired you to write about gardening as we get older? Because so many of us want to keep gardening, and boy, I'll tell you what, reading that book, I got a lot of good ideas in there.
Well, there were a couple reasons. You know, as a garden writer, I see all these beautiful gardens tended by lots of people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. And these people, they're active and they're grounded, they're curious, they're open to new ways of using their gardens and enjoying their gardens. And, you know, that's so, you know, it's like they found the fountain of youth, but it's actually a garden. And the science backs this up, that gardening is so good for you. And so I wanted to encourage people to keep reaping those benefits, but at the same time, talking to a lot of garden writers, fellow gardeners, people, it seems like it's all happening at once. We're all talking about downsizing and simplifying our gardens because we've created these beautiful gardens, but now they've gotten too big for us and too much for us. And I hated that a lot of people said, oh, I feel guilty. I can't maintain it anymore. I feel overwhelmed. I feel sad. I don't want to let it go. And so there are so many people that want to age in place. I thought there should be a book that addresses gardening in place.
I want to read a quote from the book, and I want you to comment on it. My advice for maintaining a healthy garden is to do less, do your homework, and in some cases, do nothing. Oh boy, Rhonda, I tell you what, when I read that, you had me.
Well, sometimes, I get busy because I feel like I'm often writing about gardening more than I'm gardening. And there'll be some chore or some issue that I was going to get to, but then it kind of fell by the wayside and I go out there and it was like nature took care of it. And so I didn't need to go out there and do anything other than just go out and enjoy my garden.
And so for many of us, we're doing as much as we can while we can, but that part of right sizing your garden, that's in the book too. And I think that's really important. And you've kind of touched on it where we do feel guilty for not getting to everything. But in my case specifically, I've let some of those beds go back to the forest. And I feel so much better doing that because I did feel guilty. And so talk a little bit about right sizing your garden.
Well, it probably depends upon if you are going to stay in your present home and try to garden in place, or if you might be downsizing to a smaller garden, or even maybe going to a townhouse or a condo. But one of the strategies, if you're gardening in place and you're in your existing garden, is that you can kind of break the garden into zones according to how much maintenance it requires, and try to place all the intensely cultivated, fun type of gardening really close to the house, so you're not making a lot of trips back and forth, saving your energy there, but also so that you can look out the window and appreciate it when you're not out there. And then as you move to out into different zones, maybe if you can start putting in different plants or removing plants sometimes, so that things, as you get to the edge of your garden, things have gotten simpler. And as you said, maybe if you can, let the edges go a little wild.
Well, that makes us kindred spirits. And also, you have a similar story in the book that starts it off. I learned to garden from my grandmother. And so that's a very sweet story that you share in the beginning of the book. Tell me about those first years learning to garden.
Well, I followed my grandmother around her garden. She was from Mississippi, and she was gardening there in the Depression years and, subsistence gardening. And so, there was that great migration of people to California, to the West, and she went to Southern California. And then she just gardened for fun, and she had her roses. She had edibles, which she mixed in. She was doing foodscaping way before its time. She had lots of, she really worked the microclimates. She had, low water things out beyond where the hose would reach, but she had things that liked a lot of water right by the drippy faucet. And, I kind of picked up on all that. And it was just like this little Garden of Eden for me. And I wished that she could have lived longer so that I could have kept learning from her, but it really stuck with me.
And in the book, you mentioned smart gardening methods, and a lot of talk of containers and raised beds. And again, that's what I'm doing too. I love my containers. I'm growing in raised beds, and it's made my life easier.
Yeah, I think anytime you can bring the gardening up close and personal, bring it up closer to you so that you don't have to do that crawling around on the ground anymore. There's so many new containers. There's so many elevated garden beds now, like the one you see on the cover of my book. That one was such a joy to plant and tend. And then there's so many vertical growing methods that I use in my kitchen garden. This past week, I've been out there in between book promos trying to get my kitchen garden planted. And a lot of that is placing my teepees and my trellises and my A-frames. And that's all because I'm growing everything up so it's easy to tend, it's healthier for the plants, and it's easier for me to harvest.
You just reminded me everything that I have to do that is not getting done, Rhonda.
Oh, well, I'm going to go out and work on the cucumber frame right after we're done here.
I've got the bamboo stakes sitting out there. I just need to put them together.
Well, that's the first step.
Rhonda, when you wrote Garden for Life, what did you hope that we would get out of it?
I just wanted to celebrate older gardeners, and I wanted them to keep gardening. I hear a lot of people go, "Oh, I'm done with it. I'm going to a townhouse and I'm not going to do any, there's no more yard work." And I think, well, yard work versus having fun in the garden, those are two different things. And I hate to see people give up gardening altogether. There are still ways to have fun with plants in small spaces so that you keep up that connection with nature and you get outside and you move and continue to reap those benefits of gardening.
Rhonda Fleming Hayes is the author of Garden for Life, and it is an absolutely wonderful book. You can find out everything about Rhonda if you just go to DougOster.com, and all the links are there to find the book and find her. And Rhonda, I can't tell you how much I enjoyed this book, and I want to thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for writing it.
Well, thank you.
And when we come back, you're going to learn how you can win a copy of Garden for Life, Strategies for Easier, Greener, More Joyful Gardening as We Age.
Coming back.
When their world isn't safe, they need someone to notice, to wonder and worry, to be their voice. If you suspect child abuse in any way, report it. You can be their hero. Your call can change their world.
Report suspected abuse by calling 1-800-932-0313 or visit keepkidssafe.pa.gov for more information. Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Hey, your Pratt Pack going to be a big day at the farm when they open in just about a half hour at 8 a.m. Listen to this, Memorial Day weekend sale at Janoski's happening through the 25th. So you got to get there today and tomorrow. Greenhouse 10-inch hanging baskets are 2 for $30. Excludes fuchsia, Boston fern hanging baskets. And remember, everything for the planting and planting season that lies ahead. The Greenhouse and Garden Center is now open 7 days a week. Farm market expansion, and those incredible greenhouses and gift shop and bakery too. Janoski's.
Spring has sprung, and so have the insects. Win the battle with Harmony Organic Insect Control. Nothing is safer, nothing works better. Harmony is earth-friendly, 100% non-toxic, and safe for plants, people, and pets. Harmony Organic Insect Control kills spiders, aphids, mites, soil lice, millipedes, and hundreds of other garden pests. Find Harmony at participating True Value hardware stores or online at harmonyoic.com. Hello, spring. Goodbye, bugs. Thanks to Harmony Organic Insect Control.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast.
Pump up the volume.
When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
We asked parents to share their journey of adopting teens.
They changed who I am because I can't see life without them in it.
Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Hearing the news every day is one thing. Hearing it hit home is something altogether different. That's the difference you hear every day on KDKA Radio. We go beyond the benign headlines and bring the news to life. Your life. So stay here and hear the news and what a difference it makes. 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
It is 57 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 7:30. I'm Rob Taylor. A man was arrested on Saturday, charged with burglary and aggravated indecent assault. Pittsburgh police arrested 29-year-old Charles Willis. Police say he confessed to the crimes that were committed early Thursday morning in Oakland at a residence in the 3400 block of Parkview Avenue. Willis also faces loitering, also indecent assault, prowling at nighttime, and harassment charges. He's being held at the Allegheny County Jail. A man is in custody after barricading himself inside a home in Donora. The incident happened around 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon at a home on McCrae Avenue. It lasted for hours as police and the SWAT team were called in to help get him out. The man eventually surrendered to police. Unclear what originally led police to that home. Well, an armed man shot and killed outside the White House at a checkpoint on Saturday evening. Let's get the latest from ABC News.
It happened as ABC News was on the White House grounds, covering another story. Selena Wang was in the middle of a report on the North Lawn when the story suddenly changed.
President Trump has said a deal is close, only for the two sides to remain far apart.
Wang and her crew were taping a story when they heard what sounded like gunshots just steps away. They immediately took cover after hearing people yelling for them to sprint to the White House briefing room.
Sources tell ABC News the gunman was known to the Secret Service and was under a court order to stay away from the White House. Well, the death of a 4-year-old boy who was killed when he was struck by a vehicle in the Hill District has been ruled an accident. Investigators say the 4-year-old son, Irvin Weathers, ran into the street, Anaheim Street, right before he was struck by that vehicle on Monday night. The driver stayed at the scene. Police said the driver was not impaired. Crash is under review by the city's Department of Mobility and Infrastructure. KDKA Radio News Time, it's 7:33. Coming up on 7:33. Let's get to the AccuWeather forecast next.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Recently, the world seems to be a little bit scary. And it can be hard to look at the bright side of things. Hi, this is Randy from Sorgles. With everything going on right now, a friend of mine, Brian, his wife Kyra, and son Atlas, gave me some really good advice. He said, Randy, don't let the world consume you. Grow your plants and take care of your customers. That's your job. It made me realize that I have been blessed to provide customers a place where they can put the world behind them when they're at Sorgles. Come enjoy our greenhouse, the home accents, the gift barn, fruit market, deli, bakery, naturally Sorgles, gluten-free store, the tiny town, the goats. Enjoy ice cream, kettle corn, cookies, and of course fresh fruit, Arsenal cider, Arrowhead wine, and so much more. Sorgles, when the world can be put behind you, and enjoy your day. 724-935-2090.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
A morning shower gives way to steadier rain and some thunder this afternoon, high 73, with showers and a thunderstorm continuing tonight on the way to a low of 62. Memorial Day brings a shower for some tomorrow, high 78, then warmer for Tuesday with sunshine through some high clouds, the high 83. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Hi, this is Larry Richard. Join us Tuesday on the Big K Morning Show, 5:30 until 10. We will take you to Dublin, Ireland. Find out why.
All right, let's make it the 10th caller right now. 412-922-1020 to win a $25 gift certificate. Mike, Patty, Steve, Tom, the Janoski family at Janoski's in Clinton. Doug.
And our guest, Rhonda Fleming Hayes, she has donated a copy of her book, Garden for Life, Strategies for Easier, Greener, More Joyful Gardening as We Age. And you could win that book all you got to do is go to DougOster.com, click on the contact button, and send me a message saying I want to win the book, and I'll pick one. The next couple days, we'll pick a winner and let you know, and we'll send you the book.
All right. Number to dial, very simple. Give us a call, 866-391-1020. All of your garden questions are now open. And you said to me during the break that even though the weather hasn't been conducive to be outside, cooking out, it really hasn't been bad for gardening.
It's been great planting weather, except for the things that are susceptible to fungal diseases. I'm sure when we talk to Davey next week, they're going to talk a lot about what they're seeing as far as all the way from root rot all the way up to all sorts of fungal issues. And that's where I wanted to start is about growing disease-free tomatoes. That is the number one question right now. Like, how do I get these tomatoes so they don't get the early blight and septoria leaf spot? Those are the two fungal issues that tomatoes get. What happens is in this time, like right now, we're planting our tomatoes. It gets down to 50 at night, maybe below. We get cold rain. These fungal spores that are always in the soil, they splash up, they get on the bottom leaves of the plant, and then those spores get into the plant's system. But we don't know about it until we get to June, July, and all of a sudden the bottom leaves start to turn yellow and brown and work their way up the plant. It doesn't kill the plant, it just slows it down and defoliates it. And as I said, it drives people crazy. So here are the things that I'm doing. Right off the bat, I'm not planting yet. Even though we're at Memorial Day, right now I think we've turned the page where we're going to get 70s, 80s. The soil will warm up, the air temperatures will warm up. It's going to be good for tomatoes. I always wait with my peppers till June 1st. They love it hot, and they don't like these cool nights. It will not kill them, but they just won't be happy. So for our tomatoes, the first thing is growing lots of different varieties. You should be doing that anyway. Early, mid, and late producing tomatoes will give you a longer harvest time. I've got some really quick growing tomatoes ready to go in the ground. Red Racer, Sun Gold. It doesn't take long for them to put on fruit. And so then we've got our mid-season, and the big beefsteaks like the Limbaugh Legacy Potato Top will be a later tomato to pick. So when I do put my tomatoes in, the first thing I'll do, and it was so nice yesterday to work in the garden all day and get these beds ready. And so when I plant, I'm mulching right away, and that might seem counterintuitive to the warming up the soil because mulch is going to cool down the soil. But the benefit is stopping those fungal spores from splashing up, or at least slowing them down. The other thing I'm doing when I plant is remove bottom leaves, so there's more distance between the spores and the plant, giving them lots of air circulation, growing disease-resistant varieties. Like I said, lots of different tomatoes, staking or caging them so that they're not laying on the ground. And then it's all about succession planting, leaving room to plant later. I've told the story 100 times about growing sun golds one year and a black cherry tree dropping on them. And I had a couple left in the greenhouse. I'd never planted as late as June 15th. That's when this happened. Because I was always taught you got to plant Memorial Day at the latest. But that June 15th planting, by the end of the season, those June 15th plants had no blight. But the May 20th planting had blight and they were succumbing to blight at the end of the season. And it was because they all had the same weather from June 15th on. But before that, these ones that I planted on June 15th were sitting in a nice, cozy, warm greenhouse. The other tomatoes were out in that cold rain. And so that taught me a great lesson. And a couple of years ago, we had a lot of fun. And I'm going to do it again this year. But 2 years ago, a friend of mine had 3 sun gold plants left late in the season. And he goes, I want you to have this contest where people plant sun golds on July 31st and to see if they could get a tomato by the end of the season. And everybody that participated got a tomato by the end of the season. And I was like, well, this year we're going to do one on August 1st. I'm going to save some sun golds, and we'll try and plant them on August 1st and get a tomato by the end of the season. That might seem crazy, but I'm planting a lot of tomatoes around. The last planting used to be around July 4th. And again, that might seem crazy to you, but when I'm planting a tomato on July 4th, I'm planting one that puts on tomatoes quickly. That is the trick. And so it's early girl, 4th of July, sun gold, another cherry. Sometimes as we get later in the season, nurseries have these big plants that they aren't able to sell, and you throw that in, and it's already halfway through its lifespan and filled with tomatoes, and why not? That's how I'm doing it. That's how I'm trying to keep them disease free, because it does drive people absolutely crazy. Now, I found a brand new herb I'd never heard of before. I was at Hahn Nursery, and it's called culantro. So instead of cilantro, it's culantro, Culantro. And if you love cilantro, it's so hard to grow when it gets hot. It'll bolt right away, and that's why people can't grow it. It's like an early season, late season plant. But this culantro, it's like kind of a pointy plant, but it tastes and smells just like cilantro, but it won't bolt. And so that's a really cool thing. The other thing that they have there at Hahn that I highly recommend. So I'm in that vegetable greenhouse at Hahn, and somebody there knows me, and I start helping them. Again, I don't want to trump the real worker there. I don't want, but people know me, and they're just like, hey, what do you think about this? And I'm like, there's some peppers there that I'm really hot on, no pun intended, that I turn them on to. Then there was this basil, and the basil is one I've talked about before, but they brought in like 3 more flats, and everybody should be growing this basil. If you live in the north, if you can get to Hahn, it's called Everleaf Emerald Towers. I talk about it all the time. I guess its key selling point, besides the taste and texture, is that it's very difficult to get it to go to seed. So it will go all season without going to seed, and it grows like a column. That's the towers part. Deep green, amazing flavor and texture, and then it won't go to seed, and it's basil downy mildew resistant. So that's what I'm talking about. We're talking about the plants that get fungal diseases. We've had trouble in the last 5 years with basil downy mildew, where basil will go for a while and it gets in this cool, wet weather, and then it gets the disease. This plant won't get it. And these little 3-inch pots, they have like 15 plants in them, so you can split it up and pot them up, and then they can be thrillers in a container. And I can't wait to get mine out in the garden. And basil, just the smell of basil, just wiping your hand across that basil, that's the smell of summer. That and tomatoes. I've got a truckload inside filled with tomatoes I'm taking to someplace after I leave here, and the whole inside of the truck smelled like tomatoes. It was great. When we come back, Rick, we'll talk to you a little bit about what you need to talk to about on gardening. And give us a call, 866-391-1020. Would love to talk to you. Let's talk gardening for the last 15 minutes of the show.
Back with more in a moment.
It's the little things. The information you need. People you know. The little things that make a big difference. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA. News Radio. KDKA. Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Quality Foods with 8 locations to serve you a Pittsburgh tradition. Bucks lose again to Toronto 5-2. Paul Skeens took the loss. Pirates, Toronto again today. 12:15 first pitch, 93.7 The Fan. Pitt Panthers were eliminated from the ACC Baseball Championship after falling to the number 2 seeded North Carolina Tar Heels, the final 13-5. Alex Ballou secured the pole position for the 2026 Indianapolis 500. He's driving the number 10 car, and he is the defending champion, and he drives for Pittsburgh native Chip Ganassi. And Tyler Reddick, part of the Michael Jordan race team, will start the pole for the Coca-Cola 600 that's coming up later in Charlotte. On the ice, 3-2 overtime win for Carolina. They even up their series with Montreal at 1 game apiece. And the New York Knicks have now won 10 straight playoff games as they defeated Cleveland 121-108. They are up 3-0. Siwoo Kim is at 21 under, and Scotty Scheffler and Wyndham Clark are 2 shots off the pace at 19 under as we head to the 4th and final round of the Byron Nelson. More sports, 93.7thefan.com.
Hard at work for over 75 years, Dram watering tools have been the professional's choice for quality and durability. Now you can create the softest shower of rain with a Dram rain wand in your garden. Choose from 9 water patterns for a variety of uses with a revolver spray gun. And use a color storm sprinkler for a lush playground. Quality you can depend on for a lifetime. Dram, the professional's choice for lawn and garden. Available at a fine garden center near you. Visit us online at dram.com.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
Doug Oster tells you how to keep it green. The Organic Gardener is on 100.1 FM at AM 1020. KDKA.
Rick on the road for Uncle Doug. It's the Organic Gardener. Good morning, Rick. Welcome to KDKA.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, question is, last summer I found some sweet potato slips at the local garden store. This year they're out of them. Do you know of anywhere that sells sweet potato slips?
Oh, boy. I do not, but I would just say call around. I mean, it's a specialty item, that's for sure, but you should be able to find them somewhere. I'm just not sure where. Those are not easy to grow, Rick. Did you have good luck with them last year?
Yeah, I'm not an expert by any means, but they turned out great. I mean, we took them out in August. Then you had to let them sit for like a couple weeks so they get sweet, and they were great. So I missed them at the local Agway here in Westmoreland County, and they're out of them. So I was just hoping somebody else would have them.
Well, Rick, tell you what, send me a message through my website, DougOster.com, and then if anybody out there has seen sweet potato slips, especially out east, please let me know, and then I can let Rick know. I'm sure somebody has them. I'm just not sure who, especially out east. So, folks, let me know, and we could connect Rick with a place where he can get his sweet potato slips. Thanks, Rick. We'll try and help you out. Send me a message.
So what is a sweet potato slip?
Oh, it's just like a little sprouted sweet potato.
Okay.
And sweet potatoes, like they're more of a southern crop. The ones we grow up here, you try and get one that will put on a potato quickly. They need heat. A lot of times people will grow them with
heat lamps.
No, black landscape fabric that sun will heat it up. And once people start growing their own sweet potatoes, they don't want to go back to any other sweet potato, just like anything else out of the garden. It just has this amazing flavor. There used to be somebody that would come see Jess and I at Giant Eagle, and he was obsessed with growing sweet potatoes, and it was so cool.
All right, here we go. Eileen in Swickley up next for Doug Oster, DougOster.com. Good morning, Eileen. Welcome to KDKA.
Hello. Good morning. Thank you. I have 2 hydrangea plants.
Right now, all I have are dead stalks coming up and green on the bottom. Do I just take all the dead parts off?
No, we have to wait, Eileen. And of course, it depends on what type of hydrangea you have. Is it the kind that makes kind of a ball-shaped flower that's either pink or blue?
Yes.
Okay, so we have to leave those stalks on there until we're sure that nothing's going to bloom on them. And that would just be another 2 weeks because maybe 3.
By this time, they usually have some green on them, and they have nothing.
Yeah, that's because of the winter. Again, though, there's probably buds on there, and so that's the thing that we're looking at. I know they look bad to you, but just stick it out a little bit longer and see if they might flower for you. That's the thing. If we cut those off, we're losing our buds and then our blooms. There's a 50-50 chance that you're going to get flowers off those sticks, and so we can't cut them off yet. Okay. I know it's frustrating and it doesn't look great, but I always tell people when you're looking in the garden, if you see something you don't like, look somewhere else in the garden where there's something pretty.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck with that hydrangea.
2 seats have opened up.
Yeah, 2 seats for my upcoming trip to Poland. Going to Poland next month. My wife saw Poland last year, and she just absolutely loved it, and that's why I'm going. Her and my son went, and they just thought it was the most beautiful country and friendly and great food. And so I had 2 cancellations, and so we've got opening. And you just go to DougOster.com. It's on the front page of the website. And take a look and see if the trip is right for you. Again, these are priced at last year's prices, not this year's prices. And so the two trips I'm running this year, Poland is in June, and then Christmas markets of France, Germany, and Switzerland is in November. They're both priced with last year's prices because travel prices have gone through the roof. And you could get on one of these trips, and it would be quite a discount. Now, my free online garden classes continue on Wednesdays at 5 o'clock, and I'm going to have a fun class this week. It's all about growing something unique and wonderful. You know me. I like to grow something different and weird and something out of the ordinary. We got a call coming in. I don't know if we'll have time to do it here. We got a couple minutes, but
well, this is what you call stretching in the industry.
Yes. So I'm stretching right now.
I know you are. You get to go home or go fishing. I got about 7 more hours ahead of me before I'm done today.
Yeah. After I go fishing, I'll just take a little nap. I'll be thinking about you.
Oh, but you know what? It just, I don't know. It's where I belong. It's a holiday. It's the radio. All right. Well, that caller is gone. So let me ask you this before you ride off into the sunset. What do you think this year is going to be like for the gardening community? Is it going to be a good year, do you think? What's your gut telling you?
My gut tells me it's going to be wet and cool for a while, and then we're going to just switch one day to summer. There'll be, a long, long, wet, cold spring, and then all of a sudden it's going to go to like hot and no rain.
And we'll be hoping that it would be like it is today.
Yeah, we'll be waiting for fall till things cool off. The last thing I want to see is another drought like last year. That was the worst drought I can remember since 1988. And in 1988, I was on well water, and we had a 55-foot deep well, and I couldn't water the garden. And so I was getting water off the roof in rain barrels any way I could to keep water on the garden. And there's nothing harder than a drought for gardeners because it's almost impossible to put enough water on there to make those plants happy. There's nothing like a cool rain like this.
Do you realize if I would say to my kids 1988, they would say, "Did you have running water inside your house?"
Well, I usually say 88, and then I afterwards I say 1988.
My kids are still young enough, they would say, 1988, did you have running water? There he goes, Doug Oster. Stay with us. All about your picnic plans and also the final day of our giant 2-day of savings sale at Coons Market. It's Frank Dentisi after the news at 8. Next with your Pratt Pack, KDKA.
While you sleep,
There are people you've never met who are working hard to make your morning. People who get up at ungodly hours to make sure you get the information you want. People who dedicate their lives to make yours better while you sleep. These people come together during the Big K Morning Show with Larry Richert, 5:30 to 10 in the morning, to make sure you have the best news, traffic, and weather to start your day. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is Greg Trzynski of the Original Mattress Factory. Would you ever consider paying for your new mattress 2 times? It sounds expensive, but that's exactly what happens when you buy from a mainstream mattress store. The manufacturer marks it up, sells it to the retailer, who marks it up again and sells it to you. Because the Original Mattress Factory sells factory direct, the mattress you buy is being sold for the first and only time, providing real value. Don't buy your mattress twice. Visit the Original Mattress Factory today.
Suffering from peripheral neuropathy? Learn how over 15,000 sufferers regain their comfort, mobility, and quality of life with Tri-State Neuropathy Center's successful treatment plan that is FDA cleared, non-invasive, and drug-free. Here's Sean Ritchie, DC, and Tri-State's founder about one of their many satisfied patients.
One thing I like about having the most effective treatment protocol on the market for peripheral neuropathy is the stories that we hear. Like Karen from Export. She suffered with neuropathy for 3 years, and it got so bad that she couldn't even wear her normal shoes. In fact, she got rid of them and can only wear Skechers. After going through the program, now she's able to wear any shoes she wants, and she's very disappointed that she got rid of all her other shoes.
Tri-State Neuropathy Centers helped Karen. Let them help you next. Call 724-940-9000 for an initial free consultation. That's 724-940-9000. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers, the leader in treating peripheral neuropathy. Learn more at marydanston.com.
Hi, Paul Alexander here to let you know that KDKA has planned a fabulous 5-day Arizona getaway this September, and it's filling up fast. My wife Shelley and I want you to join us for an unforgettable trip based in beautiful Flagstaff, a relaxed mountain town that makes the perfect home base. From there, we'll explore the incredible red rocks of Sedona, travel by rail to the breathtaking Grand Canyon, a bucket list spot that everyone needs to see at least once. And then we'll take in the stunning scenery around Lake Powell with its deep blue water and wide open views. It's the perfect mix of sightseeing, natural beauty, and plenty of time to just enjoy where we are. And September is truly the sweet spot. Comfortable weather, no summer crowds, and everything planned for you. No guessing, no stress. Just show up and enjoy Arizona. Space is limited. Seats are disappearing quickly. Visit travelwithkdk.com or call 800-383-3131. Again, travel with KDK.com or call 800-383-3131. Can't wait to see you there.
For women with postmenopausal osteoporosis at high risk for fracture, there's more you can do to strengthen your bones with Evenity. This is the sound of 4 women who think they're doing everything they can. A high fracture risk will cause 3 of them to break a bone in their lifetime. With Evenity, they could be rapidly building new bone in just 12 months. 2 think they already are building bone. And for 1, the game is about to change. To make an appointment, press 2. Because she's calling her doctor about Evenity. Evenity can increase the risk of heart attack, stroke, or death from a heart problem. Tell your doctor if you have had a heart attack or stroke. Do not take Evenity if you have low blood calcium or are allergic to it, as serious events have occurred with Evenity. Signs include rash, hives, swelling of the face or throat, which may cause difficulty in swallowing or breathing, muscle spasms or cramps, numbness or tingling. Tell your doctor about severe jawbone problems as they have been reported with Evenity. Report hip, groin, or thigh pain. Unusual thigh bone fractures have occurred with Evenity. Learn more about building new bone at Evenity.com.
I've heard everything you tell yourself every time you felt different. And I want you to know, taking care of your mind is taking care of everyone you love. Love your mind. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA FM HD2 Pittsburgh, W261AX Pittsburgh.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 58 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 8 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. A man was arrested Saturday, charged with burglary and aggravated indecent assault. Pittsburgh police arrested 29-year-old Charles Willis. Police say he confessed to the crimes that were committed in Oakland early Thursday morning at a residence in the 3400 block of Parkview Avenue. Willis also faces loitering, indecent assault, prowling at nighttime, and a harassment charge. He's being held at the Allegheny County Jail. Well, the man who was hit and killed by a vehicle early Saturday morning in Chartiers Township, Washington County, has been identified. The Washington County coroner has identified him as 21-year-old Philip Fry of Meadowlands. Pedestrian crash happened around 2 o'clock Saturday morning on Pike Street. Driver stayed at the scene. It's unclear if any charges will be filed. One armed man was shot and killed outside the White House at a checkpoint Saturday evening. ABC's Allison Kasich has the latest details.
The Secret Service says shortly after 6 p.m., a person approached a checkpoint in the area of 17th Street and Pennsylvania Avenue, removed a weapon, and began firing at officers. Secret Service police officers returned fire, striking the suspect, who was taken to a local hospital where he later died. A bystander was also struck by gunfire.
A man is in custody after barricading himself inside a home in Donora. Incident happened around 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon at a home on McCrae Avenue. It lasted for hours. Police and the SWAT team eventually were able to coax the man to surrender. Right now it's unclear what originally led police to that home in the first place. Death of a 4-year-old boy who was killed when he was struck by a vehicle in the Hill District has been ruled an accident. Investigators say the 4-year-old Yasan Irvin Weathers ran into the street, Anaheim Street, before he was struck by that vehicle on Monday night. Driver stayed at the scene. Police said the driver was not impaired. Crash is under review by the city's Department of Mobility and Infrastructure. And that large 4-foot piece of copper from a boil kettle that was stolen from the Penn Brewery on the north side a week ago, it's been found and returned to the brewery. Historic piece was found by Pittsburgh police unmelted at the bottom of a scrap pile. Brewery on social media thanked Pittsburgh police for finding it. Suspects who allegedly stole the copper piece are facing charges. Penn Brewery uses copper kettles that the former owner imported 40 years ago from Germany. KDK Radio News Time, it's 8:03. AccuWeather forecast next.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
By texting 64000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Host. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethost.com/terms.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and the world's #1 expandable hose has gone ballistic. The brand new Pocket Hose Ballistic is here, and it's the hose I reach for every time. This brand new anti-burst sleeve uses an extraordinary new liquid crystal polymer used in bulletproof vests, tough enough to handle anything your outdoor tasks throw its way. And that's not all. The Pocket Hose Ballistic comes with even more upgrades like thicker washers that resist leaks and an enhanced UV coating so your hose looks brand new year after year. What could be better than that? How about not 1, but 2 free gifts with your purchase? For a limited time, when you purchase a new Pocket Hose Ballistic, you'll get a free 360-degree rotating pocket pivot and a free thumb drive nozzle. Just text SUMMER to 64,000. That's SUMMER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. That's SUMMER to 64,000.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred roofing replacement contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Today brings clouds and a morning shower, then afternoon steadier rain with a thunderstorm, the high 73. Watch for showers and a thunderstorm continuing tonight, low 62. Then a spotty shower for Memorial Day tomorrow. Otherwise clouds with a high of 78. Then sunshine filtered through high clouds Tuesday, high 83. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following program is paid for by Coons Quality Market. This is the Coons Cooking Hour. The crew from Coons Market are here. It's the great food you grew up with and the recipes that make Pittsburgh someplace special.
All right, so listen. I want your secret. Is it brown sugar? What do you add to your baked beans that make them so delicious and delectable? I want to talk baked beans, potato salad, macaroni salad, linguine salad, fried chicken, burgers, hot dogs, and more, and some delicious seedless watermelon slices. It's the Memorial Day weekend, and this is the Coons Cooking Hour. It's your Pratt Pack and my partner, as he has been on television and radio for well over 2 decades, well over 25 years to be exact. He is Frank Dentisi. Now, it's the second and the final day of our 2-day of savings sale. And what that means, incredible savings that you won't find anywhere else because we have the relationships, the buying power, because we're locally owned and independently operated. Just having this conversation recently as I was at World Headquarters on Friday for my weekly visit with our CEO, Jody Zima, and Frank and others. And so why do you need to go there? Because the doors are open right now, and today's the final day of the giant 2-day of savings sale. But it's about picnic recipes. It's from appetizers to the entree to the snacks and more, even beverages. We want to hear from you right now, 866-391-1020. But I want to also talk specifically about what do you do to add a little love to your baked beans? Because the only way to have any picnic, and this is the first big picnic weekend of the year, you got to have baked beans. And Bush's Baked Beans right now at Coons Market, you can get Bush Baked Beans 2 for $5, and that's not even a part of the giant 2-day of savings sale. Here he is, the host of the show, Mr. Frank Dentisi. This is an incredible day to get to Coons Market because it's cold, it's rainy, so as the weather starts to clear up, you can get all of your groceries and get all sorts of great savings and get back home to start, well, the grill and get going. Is that not right, Frank? Good morning and happy holiday weekend.
Yeah, happy Memorial Day. And, today's a good day to get some extra shopping done and get ready for tomorrow. We do have a little bit nicer weather, at least warmer. Won't be as sunny, so it's nice and cool if you're outside, not overly hot. And it's a good day to pick up. You won't believe it, but if you were in the stores yesterday, you saw it. And then today, again, the Coons potato salad. It's $3.99 a pound, so that's $1 off our regular price. And it's something that recipe we created years and years ago. Took my mom's recipe, dropped the one thing my mom always put in, which was green olives, because most people aren't going to want green olives in there.
I think that would be pretty good.
It's delicious, but I would have a lot of people yelling at me, why'd you put olives in there? So we take that out. You want olives? We have the olives right on the shelf, the sliced Spanish olives, and you can add them back into it. And then you have the exact recipe that my mom always did.
So whet our appetite a little bit, because potato salad, it just wouldn't be a picnic without potato salad. I know what makes it so special because it was made by your mom and it just tastes good. But why is it so good?
Well, just using fresh ingredients, using the right products. So all of our mayonnaise-based products that we use that we make in the store are all Hellmann's mayonnaise. That's the quality product that when I was growing up, even running in stock, doing stock, and then going into the assistant managers on the grocery side, always knew that on the picnic on Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, we always sold so much Hellmann's mayonnaise, pallets and pallets and pallets, way more than Miracle Whip. And so when we came into the deli, I said, you know what, we need to be switching and making sure that we're using Hellmann's mayonnaise in our salads at the same time, because everyone is telling us how much they love Hellmann's. Why wouldn't we be using it for all of our salad bases that we make? So that's what we did years and years and years ago, and that's what we do to this day. It's one of the secrets. It's one of the things that makes it Pittsburgh, makes it this area, is using what the area likes to do. Also picking the potatoes that we use. We use a red skin potato. The reason why we use a red skin potato is the starch content's less starchy, so it's going to accept the dressing a little better. It's not going to be overpowering. It has a nice creamier texture. And that makes it just that little bit different. It's not made for it's not one that's made for baked beans. It's made for these kind of salads and for mashed potatoes and all that. It's got that smoother taste. So we always use that. And the rest of it, I'm not going to tell you.
You can't. I tried, folks. I tried. Did I not? But listen, I think the basics are certain things that you just have to kick off the picnic season. And I do believe macaroni salad, and I do believe potato salad. But baked beans, I have a love affair with baked beans. So let's talk about how you can well, spice things up with your baked beans. Bush baked beans are truly the biggest and best-selling in the market. We were one of the first to bring them into the market. We've got them on the shelves. We've got that incredible savings. But what is it about baked beans that always says, welcome to the picnic season, Frank?
Well, a lot of it you can customize yourself. Bush's baked beans, what sells right now. Why? Because there's so many different varieties, so many flavors. Even though the original one is what people do buy most, they do like to buy some of the varieties, and they even have a grilling bean and some different tastes that they do. Back whenever I started in grocery, it was pork and beans.
Oh,
Campbell's pork and beans.
Yeah.
And that was more people really customized it because they only sold one pork and bean. It was called pork and beans. That's it. That's what you got. But for me, I doctor them up. I put brown sugar. I'll get the Bush's baked beans, and I get the brown sugar. I add a little bit of yellow mustard and bacon. And that's what I add to my baked beans. And of course, I serve
bacon.
Yeah, bacon makes everything better. But that smoky flavor in the background kind of gives you that picnicky feel in there. And plus, bacon adds a lot of flavor into it. It really does. And even a lot of them have either pork or bacon in them because of that flavor content of barbecue. Pork really lends itself to that sweeter taste. And then that, you would be amazed, but that yellow mustard just adds that enough of a vinegary tang to it, that you really can't pick it out. It's not going to be something overpowering, but if you didn't put it in, you'd be something's missing. It's kind of flat, and it needed that little bit of tang to offset the sweetness.
I never knew that you could use mustard not just as a condiment, but an ingredient.
Oh, of course. Of course, I put it in my ham barbecue too. A lady showed me this when we were first opening our Ringamar store, our manager out there, and our deli manager, and she says, "This is how I make it." And she showed me. I tasted it. That's really good. I'm stealing your recipe.
Can you imagine?
And
what would happen if you would grab some of those Bellevue mustards, like jalapeno?
Oh yeah, you can change your flavor on it a little bit. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you get a little bit of. You want a little bit of spice. That jalapeno mustard, which is more of that yellow mustard base with the heat in the background. And the heat would be offset. It wouldn't be overpowering like it is straight out of the mustard because you have the sugar balancing that out from the brown sugar.
I've actually noticed I've been eating it quite often and using it. I actually bought a bottle into the station today. I think it's growing my hair back.
Just rub it on your head.
Yeah.
No one will say anything.
No, because it just makes my scalp perspire. I think it's actually my follicles or my hair's starting to grow again. So I love it. I got to tell you, I put it on everything. I mean, I love that mustard. And there are others that do it, but they don't do it like Bellevue does it.
No, there's certain flavors, and you notice they haven't changed it in the years and years that you've been using it. That's the other secret.
All right, so I'm going to throw something out as we go to break. I want you to be honest with me, and everybody in the audience, be honest, have the courage to step up. I mentioned this yesterday, and somebody cringed when I said it. I used to eat hot dogs raw when I was a kid.
I've done that before.
You see, if Frank Dentisi said he's done it, it's okay. So how many of you in the audience, growing up or even to this day, you get that pack of hot dogs, you basically eat one as you're throwing the other ones on the grill? And I said to this person yesterday, it was my man Rob Taylor, I said, Rob, and he's younger than me, I said, you've never enjoyed life like I have. I'm seasoned. I've been around. It's nothing more than bologna.
That's bologna. It's seasoned a little bit different, but it is bologna. They do cook it inside a casing. It's not on there when it comes out, even though it's skinless. They take that off. It's a collagen casing, and they remove it after it's cooked. The spice is just a little bit different. I mean, heating it up is going to give it a better flavor because the spices and the fat content in it just kind of render and kind of brings the flavor alive in your mouth. But, yeah, you can. Those are all fully cooked products, like the smoked sausage, kibasi's. Those are all fully cooked. Ham itself, unless you're buying a fresh ham, which is just raw pork. But, the rest of them, they're all fully cooked. It's just the flavor gets enhanced by cooking it. But you're not going to, like ham's a really good one to really say because, spiral cut ham, if you do heat it up and you try to cook that to 165 and think you're going to get, because it's safer that way, you're drying it out. You can cook that to 135 or below, really, depending on serving it. You're kind of entering a temperature danger zone. not going all the way. But it is a fully cooked product. And even spiral cut ham, you can take the slices off there, make a cold like you do cold cuts in the deli.
Oh,
Now you get a thicker slice. It's going to have a little different flavor than one's honey because again the fat hasn't rendered down, but it has a great flavor even though. And so, don't worry so much about I got to really make sure this hot dog's done. It is done. You're reheating it.
There's some good stuff, that 2-day of savings sale, but also in the regular ad, 8-piece baked chicken, all locations, $7.99 each. And we've got those absolutely mouth-watering good whole seedless watermelons. How about this price? $4.88 each. Get to Coons Market, final day today, giant 2-day of savings sale. So if you've ever eaten a hot dog raw, I want to hear from you. Do you have the courage to tell me? And what's the special spice or ingredient from bacon to mustard to brown sugar? Just a few ideas when it comes to your baked beans. It's the Memorial Day edition, and remember to always take time to pay tribute to those who've made the ultimate sacrifice. And when you gather the family, make sure you enjoy that time this holiday weekend. Your calls right now, 866-391-1020. Somebody's going to win a $25 gift certificate. That'll buy you a lot of hot dogs at Coons Market.
Your source for the AccuWeather forecast. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
Some third-party vacation rental sites charge fees just for booking through their platform. On a full week stay, those fees can add up fast. On one real 7-night stay, a guest could have saved about $2,800 just by booking direct with SWAC Vacations. That's roughly the cost of a new washer and dryer. Money you could have saved and put in your pocket just by skipping the middleman. Compare direct pricing first at swacvacations.com. SWAC Vacations. Same stay, less fees.
Thinking about starting weight loss treatment? GoodRx is here to help. We offer FDA-approved GLP-1 medications prescribed by licensed providers, including the Wegovy tablet, with straightforward pricing and pickup at your local pharmacy or delivery to your door. All from America's #1 prescription app. Go to goodrx.com/weight loss to get started. GoodRx is not insurance. Cancel anytime. #1 prescription app ranked by a third-party study.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from IQ Bar. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at eatiqbar.com/policy/terms of service.
Most protein bars are packed with sugar, carbs, and unpronounceable ingredients. There's a much better option. I'm Will, and I crafted IQ Bar plant protein bars with clean, functional, delicious ingredients to empower doers like you with superior brain and body fuel.
Now you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping when you text radio to 64,000. That's radio to 64,000.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
The diet can continue Monday. This is the Coons Cooking Hour on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, stores open today, but don't forget tomorrow until 7 p.m. on Memorial Day, then reopen regular store hours on Tuesday. So we're talking hamburgers and hot dogs and picnic tips and tricks. It's the Memorial Day weekend. It's the final day of our giant 2-day of savings sale. You have to get into Coons Market and get there early this morning for best selection. We got a lot of folks who love these 2-day of savings sales. Here's Rich in Crafton on KDKA. Hey, Rich.
Hey, hi, guys. Hey, before my mom had all the stuff in her bush beans, my mom would saute some onions, put it in with the baked beans, add some mustard. She used cubed pineapple, brown sugar, put it in a baking dish, and then put your sliced bacon and bake it in the oven until it was nice and brown. The bacon is all toasted, and there's your Hawaiian baked beans.
Love it.
Oh. Very good. And pineapple, that would add a
well, you know,
nice little
pineapple has become the extra topping. I still can't see it on pizza, but there are people that put pineapple on just about everything. There are people that actually put Hershey's syrup on a pineapple and use that as a dessert.
Yeah.
I know, but it is what it is, what it is.
I guess it's black and golden.
Listen, I know people that make pineapple hamburgers. They replace the bun with the pineapple.
Yeah, I've heard of that more. Yeah, putting a slice of pineapple. They usually use the canned pineapple, grow it up with the burger, and then it gets a different taste when you heat up pineapple. When you grill it like that, it caramelizes that sugar. and it gives it a whole different taste. I could imagine on pizza. I wouldn't do it only because the pineapple tends to be watery. There's a lot of water content. And so putting that on pizza and the water getting on cheese, just to me, wouldn't be good, especially when you put it on not cooked. And maybe saute it first. Maybe it would do something. I don't know. Just not my preference. But, usually you see it with pineapple and ham, and ham and pineapple go with. My mom always used to put, when she'd bake her ham, it was cloves and then pineapple with a toothpick up. And in the center of that pineapple ring, with a toothpick, you'd put the maraschino cherry in there. So cherry, pineapple, and the cloves that she had put through it, and gave it a whole nother flavor. And she sliced diamond cuts in there, so it actually, some of that flavor got inside the actual meat, not just on the outside of the rim of the skin.
Your mother went the extra mile. She realized that. All the stuff that I've learned, from the Heinz ketchup steak to this potato salad to making a ham and the cloves and the pineapples. She learned a lot from my nana how to cook, and my dad, what he liked. He didn't cook, but he knew what he liked and knew what it was supposed to taste like. And then merged that with my grandma on her side, Stroop, where they would, so that was that German Irish background. And that's where, then she made really good stuffed cabbage. She'd make really good, I remember beef stroganoff. We didn't have it very often, but like beef stroganoff was really good. And she used to make a sweet and sour steak, a sweet and sour beef, but she would use like round steak, and it was breaded. But then there was kind of a sauce with that breading, and it had like a soury taste to it. I think there was a vinegar in there. I never learned how to make it, but boy, was it good, because the vinegar background really tenderizes that beef, and you get a whole nother flavor. So, there's a whole another side that she learned, she already knew when they got married, and that she still cooked with and was delicious. All right, listen, don't forget that giant 2-day of savings sales will end today at the end of business. Land O'Lakes American cheese, $4.99 a pound. We've got selected varieties of Powerade 28-ounce bottles for 89 cents, and Gatorade All-Star Drink 6-pack 12-ounce bottles, $3.99. Cluster tomatoes, $1.29 a pound, and Turner's Tea. We got those jugs, 2 for $5, and Pepsi. We've got that as well, along with Lipton Brisk, those 1-liter bottles, 4 for $5. So get in there and enjoy the final day of the giant 2-day of savings sale at Coons Market. Here's George in Clairton. Hey, Georgie.
Hey, gentlemen, start your engines. Well, I tell you, I heard a little bit of hot dogs, and I heard you talking, Rob, about Bellevue and a lot of their condiments. And that's what we were pretty much raised on, the Bellevue, cauliflower, mild Hungarian peppers, the whole 9 yards. But to go to the hot dogs takes me back to the Maraschino Butcher Shop experience 3 years ago now, 52. We used to get hot dogs, and sometimes we'd have them with the strings. That was a novelty in them days. They kind of all tied together.
Yeah.
Bust the pizza off and let it snap, crackle, pop in your mouth. But I'll tell you what we used to do. One of my favorite butchers, they're all buddies. They're my mentors. We went in to Kohler. He goes, come on over here. You ought to go. That's my name in Greek. He grabs a hunk of kibasi raw. We started eating the raw kibasi, and I tell you what, we kind of overindulged on that. He said he got sick. But the hot dogs, if you don't eat too much, you're okay. But that kibasi, man, with the amount of garlic that's in it as well. We used to get our kibasi from Rendolix Packing. Do you remember that, Mr. Tentisi? Rendolix. They were out around Portview, PA, barbecue sport. And we used to have it in
I don't remember that.
No, huh? Yeah, they were around for a long time in the big brown boxes. I remember our butcher manager every Saturday afternoon before they hit the vino, and I was still working, of course, on the phone ordering. I need 6 boxes of, and I was just thinking, what an outfit this is, 6 butchers and about 10 ladies wrapping everything up within an area probably 15 feet long and about 8 feet wide with a couple of rollers going through it. Amazing. Talk about manufacturing, Rob. We manufactured.
You loved all that stuff, man. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, that was production. Everything came in bulk back then. And even like pork, beef would come in, like pork especially would come wrapped in butcher paper instead of cryovac the way it is today. Just fresher. Just, that was, everything was more localized. It wasn't centralized cutting.
You weren't shipping it.
They weren't shipping it far. So there would be, you'd have local guys, local things to buy. My uncle would pick out beef. I forget the name of the place, but he would pick up the hanging beef, mark it, let it age for the 10 to 15 days before he'd come pick it up. They'd put their stamps, and sometimes, one of the big guys out there, that are still around there, and they would switch their stamps because they liked his pick better, and he'd catch them and get all mad and have them switch it back. Nope, that's my piece. Stay away. All
right, 866-391-1020. Thanks, George. Here's Tracy. Hey, Tracy, good morning.
Good morning, Bob. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning.
Well, I was calling for two things, a baked bean recipe, and then also I did not eat raw hot dogs. I don't think eat a raw hot dog, but my husband always eats raw hot dogs.
A good
Ate
man.
him as a kid. He's 61 years old now, and every once in a while, I open a package. That's what he grabs. So you're not the only one.
My man.
Baked bean recipe. I bake mine for about 2 hours in the oven. I saute green peppers and onions, and a little bit of hamburger I throw in. And then I'll drain, like I use the bush beans too. I'll drain off the sauce that's in the bush can. So you got your peppers, your onions, your hamburger, your bush beans drained. Then I do the same thing, Frank. I'll add some mustard and some bacon and brown sugar. And then I bake it for about 2 hours. We've actually even done this on the smoker, which, you smoke it nice and low. We have a Traeger pellet grill. And that even gives it like a different taste, of course, the smoky taste. But that recipe was my mom's. And I've been using that one for a long time.
Yeah, the pellet smokers are wonderful. That's what I have at home. I don't have a Traeger. I have the Pit Boss, which was bought out by Traeger. Same concept, and just gives it just enough smoke. You can control it, how much smoke it gives. Boy, baked beans would be good on there.
Tracy, good stuff. Listen, I got to get to a break, but I hope it's not the last time you call. Really good stuff. 866-391-1020. Somebody at least admitted, even though it was their husband, who enjoys a raw hot dog every once in a while. That was a delicacy when I was a kid growing up. 866-391-1020. And the special ingredient for your baked beans this picnic weekend, and all picnic recipes today on the Coons Cooking Hour on KDKA.
Sometimes you discover a product that changes your life. I'm talking about Harmony Organic Insect Control. My fear of a flea and tick infestation is over. Nothing is safer, nothing works better than Harmony. End the painful itching and scratching that torments your pet. Spray Harmony on your pets, your clothing, your sofa curtains, and pillows. Harmony Organic Insect Control also works outside in your garden. Get a case of Harmony. Visit participating True Value hardware stores or online at harmonyoic.com.
Get everything you need for the entire job delivered. From lumber to drywall, flooring, and fixtures, get it all delivered from the Home Depot. With same day, next day, or any day delivery, staying on track and on time is crucial to your job. That's why it's our job to get you what you need when you need it. We deliver the supplies. You deliver the results. Brought to you by the Home Depot.
Liberty Mutual customize this song for you. Like your car insurance, it's custom too, yeah. Liberty Mutual's got the coverage that could save you money. Thanks to Doug and Limu, well now you can go and take that cruise. Liberty, 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 yeah.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. Covered by JP Roofing and Siding. Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company.
For generations, you've listened to us in your kitchen, catching baseball games on your front porch, and ending your day as your bedtime buddy. Now, you can watch us every day on your TV with our new KDKA Radio YouTube page or by clicking on KDKARadio.com. It's presented by Metropolitan Windows. Same great content, more live visuals. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 59 degrees in Pittsburgh International at 8:30. I'm Rob Taylor. A man is in custody this morning after he barricaded himself inside a home in Donora. Incident happened around 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon at a home on McCrae Avenue. Police and the SWAT team were called in to rectify the situation. It lasted hours, but the man eventually surrendered to police. Still unclear what originally led police to the home. Well, the man who was hit and killed by a vehicle on Saturday morning in Chartiers Township, Washington County, has been identified. Washington County Coroner's Office says 21-year-old Philip Fry of Meadowlands was the person who died. Pedestrian crash happened around 2 o'clock Saturday morning along Pike Street. The driver stayed at the scene. It's unclear if any charges will be filed. President Trump declaring a peace deal with Iran will be announced shortly. Trump making that announcement after a call with Gulf leaders and officials and a separate call with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Alex Prechet of ABC News has the latest.
Big concerns over an Iran deal from Israel. A source familiar with the situation tells ABC News that there is serious concern and disappointment because Israel says it signals to Iran they can use the Strait of Hormuz as a weapon. Netanyahu is scheduled to hold a security meeting with his defense officials later today.
A man was arrested Saturday charged with burglary and aggravated indecent assault. Pittsburgh police arrested 29-year-old Charles Willis. They say that he confessed to the crimes that were committed in Oakland early Saturday morning at a residence in the 3400 block of Parkview Avenue. Willis also faces loitering, indecent assault, prowling at nighttime, and harassment charges. He's being held at the Allegheny County Jail. Well, the death of a 4-year-old boy who was killed when he was struck by a vehicle in the Hill District, it's been ruled an accident. Investigators say the 4-year-old, Yasan Irvin Weathers, ran into the street, Anaheim Street, right before he was struck by that vehicle on Monday night. Driver stayed at the scene. Police said the driver was not impaired. That crash is under review by the city's Department of Mobility and Infrastructure. KDKA Radio News Time, it's 8:32. We've got the AccuWeather forecast. Rain in the forecast. Coming up.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial # law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Pittsburgh, we've got a problem. Home care is in crisis and there aren't enough caregivers to meet the demand. So if you've got a loved one with Medicaid and needs care, don't wait. Freedom Care was built for this moment. We help you get care at home from someone you already trust, a family member or friend who can get paid to help with everyday needs like meals, medication, bathing, and mobility. If you have Medicaid, it's 100% free to you. No waiting lists, just real care from your people right now. Freedom Care handles it all, training, payroll, and support, so you can stay safe and comfortable at home, and your caregiver gets paid after every shift guaranteed. With 97% satisfaction and over 150 million hours of care delivered, Pittsburgh families are already making the switch to care at home. Take care of your own and get paid with Freedom Care. Call 412-844-5990. That's 412-844-5990. Call now, 412-844-5990. 412-844-5990.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
So, at Monroeville Physical, spelled F-Y-Z-I-C-A-L, they help people move with less pain and more confidence. I've seen it. In fact, Physical has helped Pittsburgh get back on its feet with confidence through personalized one-to-one physical therapy and advanced balance treatment. It's amazing. The therapists use leading technology and customized care plans, focus on balance, neuropathy, and pain relief. You get back to doing the things you love safely and confidently. Call Monroeville Physical, 412-457-8200, 412-457-8200.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app?
Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code MOVE to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code MOVE to borrow up to $10,000. Use code MOVE to borrow up to $10,000.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
A morning shower gives way to steadier rain and some thunder this afternoon, high 73, with showers and a thunderstorm continuing tonight on the way to a low of 62. Memorial Day brings a shower for some tomorrow, high 78, then warmer for Tuesday with sunshine through some high clouds, the high 83. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following program is paid for by Coons Quality Market. The diet can continue Monday. This is the Coons Cooking Hour on 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, let's keep it going. We're talking everything, special ingredients for your baked beans to spice things up, but it's all about picnic food. Don't forget, final day. This is it. When we close tonight, the end of the 2-day giant day of savings sale, biggest names in the industry, Schneider of Hanover, Hers, so many more. Get there, get in on the savings, and have a wonderful holiday weekend from Coons Market. Here's Lily in Greenfield. Lily, you're on KDK with your Pratt Pack. Good morning.
Hi. I did eat raw hot dogs.
Yay!
My father would take my sister and I to this place down in Hayes. I think they called it the Slaughterhouse. And the manager would take us in the cooler and give us raw hot dogs. And when we got home, my mother would be mortified that we were eating them raw, but I'm still alive. And then the baked bean recipe, my mother would make her own sauce with ketchup, brown sugar, diced onion. What else did she put in there? The yellow mustard, of course. And she would cook that on the stove. Oh, and sometimes she put bacon in too at the end. And she cooked that on the stove, then pour it over. But the difference, we didn't eat with the regular beans. My father wouldn't eat them. So she made it with, well, we called them lima beans, but I think they're butter beans. And then she put it in a crock pot and bake it in the oven. And then the next day, if there was leftovers, I would take a slice of white bread, of course. We didn't have wheat bread then. And slather that cold beans on there and fold it over. It was so delicious.
Listen,
and that's about it.
Listen, that sounds like my kind of eats. I mean, that's good stuff.
I know, it was. It was delicious. I'm hungry for it now.
Oh, man, just such great memories. And, you know, the thing, too, there'd always be some knucklehead, including me in the crowd, that would try to take a hot dog off the grill with our fingers. And your dad would say, don't touch one of them hot dogs. You're going to get burnt. I'm telling you. But I'm hungry. As soon as your dad would turn away, you'd try to, like, scarf one off the grill, and you'd get burnt, and your dad would say, see, I told you. How's it feel?
Like he's not going to notice he put a pack of 8 hot dogs on there, and there's 7 on there all of a sudden.
Go ahead. What were you going to
say? My if people would come to the house and they say, why are you using these beans? And my mother would say, because my husband won't eat the other ones, because he said that his grandmother, they ate them all the time at home. They were poor. And she would always say, I got a bargain in beans again. And so he just would not eat those regular beans, and that's why she devised this.
I'll tell you one other thing.
That's a good alternative, though.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, they're good. I love them.
Listen,
I love them.
This is how we used to get under my dad's skin, and we loved my dad. This was his holiday, his favorite. Everybody had to be there, grandkids, you name it. You better come to my house. Even me, with working every Memorial Day, I would always find time to be there. And it's been 26 years since my dad had his last Memorial Day picnic, but every time I think of him, I think of what we used to do to get under his skin. His dad would chew juicy fruit gum all day long. I mean, all day, morning, noon, and night. And he would have it stacked in the cabinet where they grew up in Rochester. So my dad could not stand the smell of juicy fruit gum. So whenever we wanted to, poke him a little bit, my sisters and I, we'd all walk up and kiss him as we were chewing juicy fruit gum. And after about the third one, he'd go, "Get out of here, get away from me." But those were just such great memories, and those.
Yeah, that has such a sweet taste too, and smell. Juicy fruit.
Yeah, it's just certain things that take you back. And speaking of eating out of a can, my grandmother used to eat all of her vegetables. After she'd make this beautiful meal for all of us, she'd go sit in her chair and open up a can of green beans and eat them cold with like a fork. And one night I'm sitting there and I'm saying, "What are you doing?" She said, "This was kind of a delicacy when I was a kid growing up in the Depression." So one day, years after she died, I said, "I'm going to try a can of peas like that." And it was actually pretty good. So, sometimes you got to live a little. But those raw hot dogs, we did it every day. No, I mean, there was not a pub.
Oh, every day.
Yeah. I'm telling you, when there were hot dogs in our refrigerator, we used to boil hot dogs, too, in hot water.
I still do that at home.
That's what we did. I like them fried.
In a cast iron skillet?
Just fry them up with a little bit of butter.
Good.
Yeah, we used to cut them up too. My mom, we cut them up and put them in the baked beans.
Oh yeah. Put them in with the beans.
Yeah.
Oh.
And sometimes we'd cut them up and just eat them with ketchup. So you just pick them up and eat by the slice. But yeah, you can instead of bacon, you can put them inside the baked beans and give it a whole nother heartier meal.
And here's the other thing. We got to get to these other callers. 866-391-1020. But his dad, kind of like a father to me, let me have it on the air one day as my own dad would. When I said I like ketchup on my hot dogs, plain sometimes.
It's a no-no.
He went through, honestly, Lily, I thought he was going to come across the console and grab me. He said, who puts ketchup on their hot dogs? I said, I do. He goes, "That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard." He said, "Mustard ketchup, maybe, but just ketchup?" And I'm like, a lot of people do that. And he went, "Nobody does that. Ask somebody to call in who puts ketchup on their hot dogs." And I got not one phone call. So every time we roll around to the picnic season, I think to myself, when Joe Dentisi literally, he said, "What? Ketchup?" Now, I don't know why, but I like ketchup on my hot dogs. But he just felt like that was ridiculous.
I wasn't telling him right then on the air, but I love ketchup.
See, look, coward.
Yeah.
Coward.
All
right.
Not bad. Yeah,
ketchup and relish.
Anyway. Okay.
Lily,
I don't want to keep you.
No, you're fine. Have a great day. Thank you. All right. Marlene in Castle Shannon, Coon's Cooking Hour. Hey, Marlene.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
Actually, my dad loved potato salad. Salad. And if we were out somewhere, he always carried some relish with him. He loved the relish in the potato salad. It had to be Hellman's, too. But then when we got married, I switched over to the Miracle Whip because my husband was kind of chunky. So anyway, and he liked it like that, but he didn't want no relish in his. Then my mom, years ago, brown sugar, yes, and bacon, and baked beans. However, she always, when she made hot dogs, she'd take a pack, split it in half, have mashed potatoes, and then she'd have onions. She'd put the mashed potatoes and the onions together, split the hot dogs in half, and put them into the put them in the hot dog, bake them in the oven, 350 for like 10 or 15 minutes. And right before she took them out, she would put a slice of American cheese on that. Well, when my brother got married the first year, he told his wife, "Ask Mom for the recipe because that's what you're making me for our first anniversary."
Oh.
She loved that idea. I mean, my mother, she was constantly cooking bacon, pot of chicken soup no matter what time it was, she had always food going. And kids would come to our house. My mother would first say, "What do you want?" She would say, "Oh, I want a hamburger or a grilled cheese." My mother would do everything just as long as the kids came to our house and we played ball and everything. We had one time 13 kids. We had half an acre in Brentwood. Dad grew tomatoes, 250 stalks every year, and he'd pass them out. The church would come to us when they had their festivals, and they'd say, "Can we have at least and they would come, and the priest would come with bags and pick them the day before so that they would have them for their hoagies for the sale on Thursday. It was great memories that your parents passed on to you and stuff like that. But my dad could make anything. A little old lady knew next to us. She taught him how to make cabbage rolls, pierogies, all these different things. My dad was Irish. So it was a great living, you know. So.
It was, and that must have been a heck of a garden. I mean,
my goodness, yeah.
That's a lot of work. All right, Marlene, thanks. See, everybody's now coming to my defense and saying, Becky, who's been a fan of this radio station forever, she said, ketchup and relish. Everybody's saying it now when, sadly, Joe is no longer here to defend himself because I was the only one that had the courage to stand up to the guy, even though I kind of did it while I was on the air. So if he ever grabbed me, I could start to cry on the air. But anyway, seriously, he got so mad at me. And anytime I mention it, even if he wasn't within an earshot, somehow, some way, somebody said he was talking about ketchup, he would walk across the room and say, how many times do I have to tell you? You don't put ketchup on a hot dog. And I guarantee you, he had a raw hot dog in his life. There's no doubt in my mind.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah.
Listen,
I'm sure he did.
I used to sit there with the Heinz mustard when they were made. And by the way, Heinz is bringing back ketchup in a glass bottle.
Yeah.
One of the greatest things they've ever done. I will stock up on it. I still think certain condiments, especially mustard and ketchup, much better when they're in a glass jar.
They need to bring it back in the bottle that was like that little growler, you know, the fat bottom with the skinny top.
Yeah, the kind that
you can't get it out.
The kind, the kind that makes the noise with a butter knife when bang, 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 bang.
Well, you had to stick a butter knife in to get it out.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Love those condiments. Love Heinz. All right, short break. We'll come back. Anybody else wants to get in here and admit they like raw hot dogs or ketchup on their hot dogs or baked beans with a little bit of bacon or brown sugar? We want to hear from you. 866-391-1020. We'll be back.
Every Tuesday morning at 7:20, listen for Inside Independence Health, a look at all things healthcare with the experts from Independence Health System. It's brought to you by Independence Health System. Expert care here.
In Pittsburgh, Chase is proud to root for the home team because they're our team too. We cheer from the bleachers and on the sidelines. We cheer for gymnasts and quarterbacks. And with more than 25 local Chase branches and 5,000 nationwide, we are right beside you, Pittsburgh. Neighborhood bankers, digital tools, national strength. Chase, make more of what's yours.
JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
What if you could buy a flippable, two-sided mattress made with the finest materials that cost less than other luxury brands? This is Greg Trzynski of the Original Mattress Factory, and this is exactly what you'll find with our new Orthos line, available exclusively at OMF. We build these by hand using premium materials like wool and cotton. It's old-world craftsmanship with modern comfort, our most extraordinary sleep system. Built locally at a price other luxury brands just can't match. Visit the Original Mattress Factory and experience the Orthos line for yourself.
If you're the type of person who looks for high-quality products at a fair price, we would love for you to consider the Original Mattress Factory. All of our beds are hand-built in local factories using only the best materials. Because we sell factory direct, we eliminate the middleman markup, which allows us to offer great beds at a great value. If you hate games and gimmicks, we think that you'll find our honest, transparent approach refreshing. Stop by one of our locations today to experience the Original Mattress Factory difference for yourself.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? The IRS won't quit until they get your money. Here's great news, fresh from those in the know. Major changes have happened at the IRS. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a 99% reduction of what you owe. Haven't filed a return for a while? Their happy clients are talking.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues. Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Need relief from crushing tax debt? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax knows all about them. Personal or business, this is the fresh new break you've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really help me out. I'd recommend them highly.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-499-1424. 800-499-1424. 800-499-1424.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
the diet can continue Monday. This is the Coons Cooking Hour on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, here we go. Right back to the phones. A busy edition of the Coons Cooking Hour. Don't forget the final day of our giant 2-day of savings sale. Some of the biggest names in the grocery industry. Amazing savings underway now until the end of business. Today's the final day of the giant 2-day of savings sale. Here's Rose in the North Hills. Hi, Rose.
Good morning. You brought back such long memories that I haven't thought of for years. I'm 88 years old. I was born and raised on North Side. And when we were little, my mother shopped at Mac's Meat Market on East High Street, and she would take me and my brother. As soon as we walked in, the butcher would reach in the underneath the counter there and give us each a raw hot dog. It was better than getting an ice cream cone.
You bet.
You say, as a kid, we used to get a free cookie. You guys got hot dogs.
And I just want you to know, I always ate ketchup on my hot dog.
Oh, Rose.
I still do to this day.
I'd give you a big hug if you were here.
Oh, well, I'd hug you right back.
Thank you. I could use a good hug. Good stuff. Thank you, Rose. Listen, here's what's amazing. Can you imagine if you walked into a place today with your kids? Oh, how's everybody doing today? Oh, you look so nice. You went to church today. What are you going to do? Oh, you're going to your grandmother's. Here's a raw hot dog.
You'd be on the news.
But you know what?
They're trying to kill my kids.
This is what's wrong with this country today. We've lost sight of, you know what you mentioned during one of the breaks? The good humor. That truck, the little
Yes,
bell.
the ice cream truck.
I mean, we got all these food trucks. How's come somebody doesn't come to the neighborhood? I'll buy a snow cone. I mean, come on. What happened to America? When you could actually get a raw hot dog.
I need to talk to. There's one place near my house. They have a big snowman, and it's they have the slushies, the shaved ice.
I love it.
They need to get a van and start coming around.
When I did Pirate Sunday for 10 years, I loved it. But what I look forward to the most, which is now the Clemente Bridge, there would always be somebody there with the cart, the shaved ice.
Yeah.
I loved shaved ice. We need more of these good humor trucks in neighborhoods again. Because you know what the problem is? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to just tell you the way it is. Kids are inside playing video games.
Yes.
They're not out playing outside anymore.
Well, we'll put commercials on their video games that can come outside every now and then.
Your dad could make you weed the garden, take out the trash, make your bed, do everything, and he'd say, "You want something from Good Humor? Here's your quarter."
Well, when you're out there, you're like mowing the lawn. I knew the ice cream truck's coming. It was, you knew kind of when they're coming. So yeah, I'll mow the lawn because I know the ice cream truck's coming.
Hot day, sandlot baseball, swimming in the neighbor's pool, cutting the grass, doing stuff, and then after dinner, because it was always so hot out on the patio, you'd hear that in the distance, and you'd be right away, "Dad, you look nice today. Did you have a very nice day at work? How are things going? Dad, I want to tell you how much I love you." All right. And he'd reach into the pocket, "Go get yourself something, and make sure you get your sister something, too." And I'm like, "Well, I'm going to need more money." He said, "You can make that work." I'm like, "Okay, 6 kids with a quarter? How's that going to work, Dad?" But we get the Nutty Buddy bars, the fudge sickles. Those were great days. Here's Ramesh in McKees Rocks. How are you, sir? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call. What I'm going to say is not going to be exciting or anything. What I do for brown sugar, I balance out when I take the days for the cane sugar. I compensate my tea or coffee with a spoon of brown sugar. So that's my take on brown sugar. It is healthy. It has got a lot of nutrient value also compared to your regular cane sugar.
Amen. That's a good point, Ramesh. Good stuff. A lot of people aren't so happy about certain things like sugar anymore, but brown sugar is a good way to go, Frank.
Yeah, go with the brown sugar. I mean, a lot of it, though, is really just, it's moderation. It's not loading up on sugar all day long. It's, there's a little bit of sugar in there. There's things that, you need that, you want that little bump of energy. Do you want to grab one of these energy drinks with what they're calling zero sugar, but it has an artificial sweetener that was made God only knows where, or would you just add a little bit of sugar that adds some little bit of sweetness? As long as you're not overdoing it and overloading on the sugar, you won't get that I have to have the sugar and and the rush. Sometimes the natural, as I've gotten older, is the natural way works better. If it wasn't made in a lab, if I could actually find it on this planet growing or roaming, that's the better way to go than with something that was created for our benefit, which is not. It's been created for profit. It's created for profit for that stuff. It's not natural. I'd rather go with the least amount of ingredients, natural ingredients, and sugar does fall into that realm.
Absolutely. Let's take a short break. We'll come back. Stay with us. We'll draw this week's winner of that $25 gift certificate next on the Coons Cooking Hour.
While you sleep, there are people you've never met who are working hard to make your morning. People who get up at ungodly hours to make sure you get the information you want. People who dedicate their lives to make yours better while you sleep. These people come together during the Big K Morning Show with Larry Richert, 5:30 to 10 in the morning, to make sure you have the best news, traffic, and weather to start your day. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
What if you could buy a flippable two-sided mattress made with the finest materials that cost less than other luxury brands? This is Greg Trzynski of the Original Mattress Factory, and this is exactly what you'll find with our new Orthos line available exclusively at OMF. We build these by hand using premium materials like wool and cotton. It's old-world craftsmanship with modern comfort, our most extraordinary sleep system. Built locally at a price other luxury brands just can't match. Visit the Original Mattress Factory and experience the Orthos line for yourself.
If you're the type of person who looks for high-quality products at a fair price, we would love for you to consider the Original Mattress Factory. All of our beds are hand-built in local factories using only the best materials. Because we sell factory direct, we eliminate the middleman markup, which allows us to offer great beds at a great value. If you hate games and gimmicks, we think that you'll find our honest, transparent approach refreshing. Stop by one of our locations today to experience the Original Mattress Factory difference for yourself.
Pittsburgh's very own board-certified and licensed hypnotherapist Dan Vitchoff of the PA Hypnosis Center is here to help you. He has helped train U.S. Olympic team members control their brains, stay relaxed, focused, and in control, giving them the edge for the gold. He's recognized by many organizations around the world as one of the top hypnotherapists anywhere. He has gotten over 3,000 people to give up cigarettes for good in the last 22 years. He's helped folks even who've tried gastric bypass to lose weight. He can help you and give you a 98% success guarantee. Call 724-934-8446. That's Dan Vitchoff, the PA Hypnosis Center. Mention KDKA and get $50 off any program. But call for a free consultation today, 724-934-8446. The PA Hypnosis Center with Dan Vitchoff. Make that call today, 724-934-8446.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
The diet can continue Monday. This is the Coons Cooking Hour on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right. This person is from where, Frank?
Edinburgh. It's this week's winner, Tracy from Edinburgh.
Yeah, that's Knox County, Clarion County, 1876. Did a little research on that as we drew that winner during the break. So congratulations to Tracy. You won yourself a $25 gift certificate from Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition. Frank, got 30 seconds. Please remind him today's the day, the final day. We do this once a month to give you an opportunity. And with that Coons Reward Card and the coupons and everything we have, there's all sorts of great savings underway right now for the Memorial Day weekend. Go ahead.
Yeah, great deals on the 2-day sale items. Sugardale bacon, 12-ounce packs are $2.89. Cape Cod potato chips, a selected variety of them. Buy one, get one free. Land Lakes American cheese in our deli, $4.99 a pound. And, of course, Coons potato salad, $3.99 a pound. What a great deal.
All right, listen, have a great day. Enjoy the weekend, everyone. Don't forget the giant 2-day of savings sale at Coons Market and those cafes, McKnight Road and Banksville Road. All sorts of great varieties, 600 varieties of your favorite beers, microbrews, and craft beers, and a great wine selection. And something new, Wiggle Whiskey, those craft products, those ready-made cocktails. You're going to love them. They're available right now, Coons Market, McKnight Road, and Banksville Road. It's 9 o'clock. News next with Rob Taylor.
The preceding program was paid for by Coons Quality Market.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 59 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 9 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. This just into the KDKA Radio Newsroom. Doug McCain, a Navy pilot and the eldest child of the late Senator John McCain, has died suddenly at the age of 66. That's according to his family. Cause of death has not been made public. Doug McCain was the son of John McCain's first wife, Carol Shep. McCain adopted him when he and Shep were married in 1965. Again, Doug McCain died suddenly at the age of 66. A man is in custody after barricading himself inside a home in Donora. The incident happened around 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon at a home on McCrae Avenue. Lasted for hours. Police and the SWAT team eventually able to coax the man out of that home and surrender to police. It's unclear what originally led police to that home. Man who was hit and killed by a vehicle early Saturday morning in Chartiers Township, Washington County, has been identified. Washington County coroner identified him as 21-year-old Philip Fry of Meadowlands. Pedestrian crash happened around 2 o'clock Saturday morning on Pike Street. The driver stayed at the scene. It's unclear if any charges will be filed. KDK Radio News Time, it's 9:02. AccuWeather forecast coming up.
Thinking about starting weight loss treatment? GoodRx is here to help. We offer FDA-approved GLP-1 medications prescribed by licensed providers, including the Wegovy tablet, with straightforward pricing and pickup at your local pharmacy or delivery to your door. All from America's #1 prescription app. Go to GoodRx.com/weight-loss to get started. GoodRx is not insurance. Cancel anytime. #1 prescription app ranked by a third-party study.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from IQ Bar. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at eatiqbar.com/policy/terms of service.
Most protein bars are packed with sugar, carbs, and unpronounceable ingredients. There's a much better option. I'm Will, and I crafted IQ Bar plant protein bars with clean, functional, delicious ingredients to empower doers like you with superior brain and body fuel.
Now you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping when you text radio to 64,000. That's radio to 64,000.
Hi, Paul Alexander here to let you know that KDK has planned a fabulous 5-day Arizona getaway this September, and it's filling up fast. My wife Shelley and I want you to join us for an unforgettable trip based in beautiful Flagstaff, a relaxed mountain town that makes the perfect home base. From there, we'll explore the incredible red rocks of Sedona, travel by rail to the breathtaking Grand Canyon, a bucket list spot that everyone needs to see at least once. And then we'll take in the stunning scenery around Lake Powell with its deep blue water and wide open views. It's the perfect mix of sightseeing, natural beauty, and plenty of time to just enjoy where we are. And September is truly the sweet spot. Comfortable weather, no summer crowds, and everything planned for you. No guessing, no stress. Just show up and enjoy Arizona. Space is limited. Seats are disappearing quickly. Visit travelwithkdk.com or call 800-383-3131. Again, travelwithkdk.com or call 800-383-3131. Can't wait to see you there.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Today brings clouds and a morning shower, then afternoon steadier rain with a thunderstorm, the high 73. Watch for showers and a thunderstorm continuing tonight, low 62. Then a spotty shower for Memorial Day tomorrow, otherwise clouds with a high of 78. Then sunshine filtered through high clouds Tuesday, high 83. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following is an editorial by KDKA Radio Regional Vice President Michael Spacciapoli.
This Memorial Day weekend will be a time for travel, a time for family gatherings at cookouts, and a time to relax. But this weekend is more than that. Memorial Day is a federal holiday to honor American personnel who died while serving in the armed forces. It is a day for visiting cemeteries and memorials for the 1.3 million service members who died in the line of duty. At least 13 service members have died during Operation Epic Fury in Iran. This weekend, we ask that you pay tribute to those who have sacrificed their lives to keep our lives safe and free. This is the time to put aside your political differences and remember those who have died in combat so we can continue to be the land of the free and the home of the brave.
This has been an editorial by KDKA Radio Regional Vice President Michael Spacciapoli. To view a transcript, go to kdkaradio.com.
All right, let's continue. A very sad story about Senator McCain's son, Doug, 66, found dead. You heard Rob bring that up during our newscast, and I saw that posted from the New York Post just moments before we went to the top of the hour. You know, I have been in this business a long time, and I have covered a lot of stories, and I have met and interviewed a lot of really amazing people. Never had the fortune to interview Senator McCain, who sadly is no longer here. But whenever I think about Memorial Day, and I think about patriotism, and I think about politics and how it really should be, I think of that man. And one of the big problems that I've had with President Donald Trump, even though he's a lightning rod, and I like the fact that he gets things going and at least gets the conversation started, I was not very happy when he personally attacked him. But all's fair in love and politics. But I'm thinking about Senator McCain today, who spent a lot of time in a prisoner of war camp during the Vietnam War, came back a broken man, but basically picked himself up, retooled himself, got back into physical shape, and could have went on to do just about anything in corporate America, but he decided to get into public office. And anytime somebody mentions Arizona, anytime somebody talks about the Navy, anytime somebody talks about the Vietnam War, and especially today, I think about the 58,000 young men barely old enough to even shave that sadly did not come back from Vietnam. I think of Senator John McCain. So I just wanted to take a little bit of time to say my thoughts and prayers go out to the family. And more importantly, Senator McCain's name, even though it has come up because of a very sad story, it's a name that is a part of our history, especially our military and patriotism, and something that I've been trying to talk about and will continue to talk about right through our Memorial Day show tomorrow night from 5 until 10 when we welcome Bob Dvorak, award-winning author, written many books about the 82nd Airborne, Vietnam veteran Tony Accomando, life-changing service dogs for veterans of Friends of Da Nang. We need to talk about Senator McCain because of his legacy, even if his name comes up because of the tragic story behind now finding that his son, 66 years of age, has been found dead. No confirmation on the cause of death, but that story is just literally minutes trending. First to see it in the New York Post, and Rob, of course, talking about it on our newscast at 9. Senator McCain was everything you would want somebody to be when you would think about the perfect American. Somebody who basically grew up in a family that had influence, obviously had wealth, but he served when he probably could have got out of it and ended up in that prisoner of war camp only to come back broken, but he repaired himself to make himself whole to help America in public service. And he did it incredibly well for many years. And I have said he and Sarah Palin were a great ticket, but I think John McCain would have been a great president. So thoughts and prayers go out to the McCain family, finding out today that his son, 66 years of age, Doug McCain, was found dead. No confirmation on the reason or cause of death at this point, but we will continue to follow that story along with our colleagues at ABC News Radio. Yeah, that's one of the things that I think we need to do more of. And, you know, I've been focusing on a certain period in our country's history over the last couple of days, and we'll do more of it tomorrow, because I think if there was ever a need for a history lesson, now it is the time to talk about that great war that is World War I and World War II, the greatest generation. I mean, just say that, the greatest generation, often imitated, but never duplicated. And I must say that we baby boomers have not done a very good job in telling those stories, letting our children know, those millennials, Generation X, Y, Z, the significance of who their grandparents were and why they were the glue that kept this country together. I mean, think about it. So we get through the war. They come back. Many of them marry their childhood and high school sweethearts, like my mom and dad. My mother is 12. My dad is 14. They start that puppy love that evolves into a relationship. And then after going and coming, finally decide in 1948 on Valentine's Day, let's get married in June of that same year till death do us part. And that was the reason why they parted. 51 years of marriage. My father dies 26 years ago this summer. And my mother says to me after that very few hours from the hospital and him being pronounced dead to sitting in her living room saying, this is the first night other than me delivering birth of you children that I haven't slept in the same bed with your dad. That's what the greatest generation was all about. Commitment. Getting married, my dad 22, my mother 20, 6 kids by the time my mother's 26, my dad's 28, 29, and they never looked back. Never complained when times were tough, always found the will and the way to support and take care of their kids, but that entire time would go back into time to big bands and World War II and war bonds and rationing. And could we defeat Nazi Germany? Could we defeat the Empire of Japan? The world was depending on the U.S. of A. And they used what they had learned during those days of hardship to be able to maneuver through tough times that I look back on now were gentler times. And how if my father were alive, he'd be saying the exact same thing because he loved Senator McCain. A lot of it had to do, they were both people of the Navy, but my dad would talk about his grit, determination. And then you may remember Senator McCain dealt with cancer and other issues, but he never stopped wanting to serve the people. And was one of the early people in when it came to immigration because of the state of Arizona. This guy was so far ahead of his time, small in stature, but he was a dynamo. And sadly, by the time he decided to throw his hat in the ring for presidency, the whole political landscape had changed. And I believe Sarah Palin would have been a great leader. She, of course, the governor of Alaska, talking about the resources of all the real estate and the natural gas and oil and being able to take from the land to help America truly become great again. And you had a man of the military background that he had, making us understand that, yes, every once in a while you reach across the political aisle when need be, but the only way America is strong is through its military and its resources and building things. When I think about Senator McCain, as I am today because of that news about his son, I'm really thinking that maybe we'll never have a politician as that well-rounded again. Somebody that could represent the country, who understood the military, understood the economy, understood manufacturing, and understood the world was changing and how it had to change by choosing Sarah Palin as a running mate. That proved to me even more how great this man was. And I've said many times, it's time, long overdue, for a woman to get an opportunity to run the Oval Office. We need to face reality. We have to evolve and change, but we have to kind of stick to that blueprint that made us who we are. And now that we've stopped telling the stories of the greatest generation, because sadly there are no members but just a chosen few, a handful, if you will, in the big picture left, and we baby boomers did not pass it on to our children and grandchildren, that maybe we're headed down a path of destruction as we reach 250, moving towards 300, because we haven't taught life's lessons. We haven't explained to the young people the sacrifices that were made. So what I want you to do this hour, I want you to take a little bit of time and tell those stories and talk to me this Sunday morning during the Memorial Day holiday. And twofold, explain to me why more gunfire in the nation's capital. Little after 6, a 21-year-old pulled a weapon out of a bag, began firing on officials as the Secret Service has made it clear today. They exchange fire. The 21-year-old dies, but in the meantime, a 16-year-old bystander is in a hospital because they were wounded and caught in the crossfire. But how many attempts we've had on the president's life, how many attacks we've had in which guns have been fired and drawn against our government. Where have we gone wrong in America? Why have we stopped telling the stories of heroes that used to walk amongst us in magical and heroic times in our country's history that lifted us above and beyond the call of duty to where we're now still in the most powerful free nation in the world, even though our economy is hanging on by threads, something that should have never happened. But if you look at the timeline and all of the things that have gone wrong and things that continue to go wrong that are ripping apart America as we speak, it's because we stopped telling the stories or listening to those stories of the greatest generation. So I want you to tell those stories. Talk about your parents, your grandparents, what they went through, the stories that they told you. And if you're old enough to have a grandparent that fought in World War I or lived during that era, I think those stories would go a long way to make young people today, maybe listening on this Sunday morning, that we should nowhere near drop the ball or lose an opportunity that is in front of us right now because of the sacrifices that were made. It's time for us to reignite the stories that made America who we are, most powerful free nation in the world. So all of our lines are open. Some storytelling time, if you will. The Greatest Generation Unplugged. 866-391-1020. Everything they did is the reason we are still standing today. And the sooner we realize that, the better we will be. And if we start dialing it back and leaning into it and looking at America for what it's worth and why this president can make a difference, just maybe we can turn things around. So as we get ready to celebrate birthday 300 and this 250th birthday is in the rearview mirror, there will be that one clear vision, and that's hope. 866-391-1020. Your call's next.
News, weather, traffic, and business every day. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Vacation costs add up fast. The rental, the gas, the groceries. What about the stuff you actually want to spend money on? So before you book through a third-party site, visit SWAC Vacations directly. When you book direct, you skip the platform fees and keep more money in your vacation budget. Explore family-friendly vacation rentals at beaches, lakes, and mountains you love. Visit swacvacations.com, SWACK Vacations. Less wasted on fees, more saved for memories.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
You know, we still have the greatest military in the world, but I'm going to leave you with this, then we're going to take your calls. And I want you to share these stories because people need to hear them. They need to understand what sacrifices have been made for us to realize that we have a responsibility in this country. But you think about the start of World War I, Doris Kearns Goodwin, who is one of my all-time favorites, these Netflix documentaries about Teddy Roosevelt and Franklin Delano Roosevelt, even if it takes a couple of days, do it today, tomorrow. It's going to rain a little bit today. Bring the kids to that television screen. Let them understand what has happened in our history to give us this chance to be where we are today. But we had like 100,000 members in the military at the start of World War I. We had to get millions ramped up, ready to go. Same thing, World War II, but we did it. We overcame. I don't know if we could do that today. If we had to ramp up for a war today, and if a draft was underway, I don't know if we could do it today because the grit, the fire in the belly is gone. And I think we live in a society to where we think we're entitled. We are entitled to nothing. And we also live in a society, and yesterday was another indication, we have nothing but disrespect and, sadly, hatred for our government. Not so much about the Constitution and democracy, even though it gets drug in because the majority of people don't even know what those incredible documents are all about, but because of the person in office. And it should never be that way. Once elected, whoever it may be, from whatever party they represent, we need to respect the office and support it because as that person goes, we all go. 866-391-1020. First stop is Imperial. Here's Kathy on a Sunday morning with your Pratt Pack. Good morning, Kathy.
Hi, Rob. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Memorial Day weekend. I guess if that's an appropriate thing to say, I don't know.
It is.
But oh yeah, sure. I was raised with a very, very deep respect for the military. My mom was a child during the Depression, and then her brothers served in World War II. I can remember being at parades when I was little, and when the veterans would walk by, she would like tug on me and say, "Put your bag of candy down. We need to be reverent for these men." And I didn't understand what that meant, but she instilled in me, you need to respect. They made a big sacrifice, things like that, all through my childhood. She was very involved with politics, things like that. So I'm thankful for my foundation that was laid by her. And my dad served in the Navy as well during World War II, but my uncles. So anyway, that being said, I don't think enough of that is taught anymore. Sadly. And when it comes to our young men, I've watched my husband, who did not have a male role model, work so hard at trying to understand the role of a man in their son's life and daughters. But let's talk about men with men, first of all. I know a lot of women are going to be surprised to hear me say this, but I don't think that a woman should ever be the president. And the reason why is because of men leading men. When you're the president, you are the commander-in-chief of the military. And I think that it's very important for men to lead men. And
now, wait a minute. Stop. Hold the phone. I just got to make it clear here. I think it is time for a woman to be president, but I want to hear what the audience has to say. And look, this is a lightning rod, but it's coming from a female, and she's explaining why. I disagree, but I want to know what you think. She has said she believes that a woman should never be president, and here's why. So explain again why you believe, Kathy, that a woman should never be president. Go ahead.
Especially in the times we're living in, where a lot of young men are lost. They don't know how to lead. They don't understand a healthy picture of what it means to lead their family, what it means to move with healthy masculinity in the direction of a woman, things like that. That's very lacking in our society in general. We're in trouble with that. And I believe that it's real important for men to rise up, understand healthy masculinity, what that looks like, and how men need to mentor and lead other men. Women, we do our thing, and a man, no more than a man could lead a group of women to be women, because it's just they're not women. So I think it's very important for the commander-in-chief of our nation and of any body of a military. And I know there are women in the military as well. I'm not saying that there's not roles that women can play as far as leadership goes, but I just don't think as far as natural law goes, women leading men in that way, in a way that's something as important as, war strategy, just the masculine. A woman cannot impart masculinity to a man. That's basically what I'm saying. And I think it's extremely important for that narrative in general in this society, especially in the United States of America. It is so broken. And I think that needs fixed, just even on the small scale when it comes to marriage, what a family structure looks like, all of the above. What is the role of a man and a woman? Because, there are. And I'm fully equal with my husband as far as I have a lot of gifts and abilities. He is very supportive. There's no I'm not talking about someone leading and that meaning dominating by any means. I'm just talking about bringing healthy masculinity to the table. Women can lead in many ways. I mean, I've even been asked to run for political positions, which I'm not interested in. I know I'd be really good at it too, and there are ways where strong women can lead for sure, but a woman cannot impart masculinity to a man. So that period, so that's what I mean by it. And I know a lot of people would disagree with that.
Well, listen, I will give you this. I've known you a long time through the radio airwaves, and even though I disagree with you, because I grew up with 5 sisters, and every good decision I've ever made came from a woman. Every bad is because I did not listen to a woman. And I am around a lot of very strong-minded and willed women who I look at them as I would look at any male in the same capacity. But I do give you credit for saying this today on the radio airways, because that took a little bit of courage. But I'm going to tell you something else. I think one of the reasons why you were saying like men don't really get it, don't understand, I think men may be the weaker of the sex right now for a number of reasons. And I think of my father, who was a manly man, but I think his rough edges were rounded off because of being around so many females. And if anybody understood how a woman should be treated, but more importantly, how a human should be treated, was my father. So that's just my thoughts, but I respect where you're coming from because that's your opinion.
Thank you, Rob. And, when a woman brings true, healthy femininity in the direction of a man, like you just said, the advice you took from your sisters, what have you, I've been married now for 43 years, and I know there's a way to move in the direction of your man, which does in some ways steer him in directions, but it's still from a feminine standpoint. It's feminine energy in his direction. When that's healthy on the woman's part and the man's healthy masculinity is in place, it's a home run.
Well, but I think what's happened in our society, we overthink everything so much. And I just wish we could let things unfold. Look, when I was a child growing up, and it wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and maybe it's one of the reasons why I have failed miserably when it comes to marriage, because I just thought it would always be that. I know what I have to do, you know what you have to do. And I maybe got spoiled because my mom did go the extra mile, and shame on me for that. And it can't be all their fault for as many times as I've been married. So I will take as much of the blame as I possibly can. And hopefully, because I've had years to rethink, I'll be able to move forward in that next relationship and do a better job of it. But I think we overthink everything in our society so much, and I think that's why there's so much anger. I mean, think about this, Kathy. We're talking again on a very sacred weekend in which we're supposed to remember those who've made the ultimate sacrifice, and we're dealing with more gunplay in the nation's capital just a short distance from where the president was. It's ridiculous. 30 seconds, all yours. Go ahead.
Okay, well, first of all, back to you, you remain teachable and you're willing to self-reflect. That's why things go well for you. And I applaud you for that. You own it, you talk about things, and I hope all good things for you. And you probably will find somebody to go off into the sunset with, I would imagine. And they would be blessed to have you. And I mean that. But when it comes to this society, we really need to be pouring into these young people. If you're a parent, if you're, a mentor, whatever, we really need to get this balance back. I mean, look at all the assassination attempts. They've been all young men.
It's crazy.
It's
crazy.
All of that. So, but anyway, I have great hope for this nation. If we all just do our small part, we can move mountains. If we each do a little bit, it'll make a big impact. That's what I have to say.
Excellent call, Kathy. 866-391-1020. That, anything else, feel free. Phone number, 866-391-1020. We'll be back.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Host. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethost.com/terms.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and the world's #1 expandable hose has gone ballistic. The brand new Pocket Hose Ballistic is here, and it's the hose I reach for every time. This brand new anti-burst sleeve uses an extraordinary new liquid crystal polymer used in bulletproof vests, tough enough to handle anything your outdoor tasks throw its way. And that's not all. The Pocket Hose Ballistic comes with even more upgrades like thicker washers that resist leaks and an enhanced UV coating so your hose looks brand new year after year. What could be better than that? How about not one, but 2 free gifts with your purchase? For a limited time, when you purchase a new Pocket Hose Ballistic, you'll get a free 360-degree rotating pocket pivot and a free thumb drive nozzle. Just text SUMMER to 64,000. That's SUMMER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. That's SUMMER to 64,000.
When you call yourself the voice of Pittsburgh, you have to know when to not talk. Sometimes you just need to be the ears of Pittsburgh. Just listen. Listen to what you have to say. These are complicated and uncertain times. But when you need us, we are here for you. And we're listening. A trusted source that you can count on to be here. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 61 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 9:30. I'm Rob Taylor. A man is in custody after barricading himself inside a home in Denora. The incident happened around 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon at a home on McCrae Avenue. It lasted for hours. Eventually, the SWAT team was called in to see if they could get the man out. They did. He eventually surrendered to police. It's unclear what originally led police to the home. Doug McCain, Navy pilot, the eldest child of the late Senator John McCain, has died suddenly at the age of 66. That announcement made by McCain's family earlier this morning. Cause of death unknown at this hour. Doug McCain, the son of John McCain's first wife, Carol Shep. McCain adopted him when he and Shep were married in 1965. Again, Doug McCain, oldest son of the late Senator John McCain, has died suddenly this morning at the age of 66. KDK Radio News Time, 9:31. Next updates at 10. I'm Rob Taylor on the Voice of Pittsburgh, News Radio KDKA.
In Pittsburgh, Chase is proud to root for the home team because they're our team too. We cheer from the bleachers and on the sidelines. We cheer for gymnasts and quarterbacks. And with more than 25 local Chase branches and 5,000 nationwide, we are right beside you, Pittsburgh. Neighborhood bankers, digital tools, national strength. Chase, make more of what's yours.
JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
What if you could buy a flippable, two-sided mattress made with the finest materials that cost less than other luxury brands? This is Greg Trzynski of the Original Mattress Factory, and this is exactly what you'll find with our new Orthos line, available exclusively at OMF. We build these by hand using premium materials like wool and cotton. It's old-world craftsmanship with modern comfort, our most extraordinary sleep system. Built locally at a price other luxury brands just can't match. Visit the Original Mattress Factory and experience the Orthos line for yourself.
If you're the type of person who looks for high-quality products at a fair price, we would love for you to consider the Original Mattress Factory. All of our beds are hand-built in local factories using only the best materials. Because we sell factory direct, we eliminate the middleman markup, which allows us to offer great beds at a great value. If you hate games and gimmicks, we think that you'll find our honest, transparent approach refreshing. Stop by one of our locations today to experience the Original Mattress Factory difference for yourself.
Pool days call for cookouts and lots of laundry. This Memorial Day at Lowe's, save $80 on a Charbroil Performance Series 4-burner gas grill, now just $199. Plus, get up to 45% off select major appliances to keep dishes, clothes, and food fresh. Having fun in the sun is easy with us in your corner. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/27. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. See associate or Lowe's.com for details.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
A morning shower gives way to steadier rain and some thunder this afternoon, high 73, with showers and a thunderstorm continuing tonight on the way to a low of 62. Memorial Day brings a shower for some tomorrow, high 78, then warmer for Tuesday with sunshine through some high clouds, the high 83. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
You know, we were talking last hour, Frank and I, about that Good Humor truck that used to go around the neighborhood, right? And I mentioned about Nutty Buddy bars, but there were some people that called them drumsticks. And to me, I just started thinking, because that's how my mind works, what was the difference between a Nutty Buddy bar and a drumstick? And then I started thinking about all the other little delicacies that you could get from the good humor person, right? Creamsicles, fudgesicles, sherbet push-ups. I don't know how many of you remember the orange sherbet push-ups that you could get. And, you know, here's something else. Memorial Day, the official start of summer, all of these days and weeks and months that lie ahead. And when you're a kid and you get out of school for the summer, I know back in the day, we were always outside. When our eyes would open in the morning, bowl of cereal, and we'd get out of the house as quickly as we could, because if you, hung out, your mom would find something for you to do. And if your dad was on that 1 week's vacation where he was at home, he'd always have you doing something. Staking tomatoes, weeding the garden, trimming around the sidewalk when you had the hand clippers as opposed to the weed whackers. And kids have no idea how lucky they are today, right? But, you know, you just were always doing something. Your dad would put a brush in your hand. You'd be painting something, fixing, hammering, doing something. Or your dad would decide, we're going to clean out the garage. And that was one of the worst things you could hear. If it was a Sunday morning and you knew you had a week of him being home to where he was still getting up at 5:30 in the morning and, you know, being there making bacon and eggs and, you know, slamming cupboards so everybody would wake up, and he'd say, oh, you're up early today. By the way, we're going to clean out the garage. And you knew it wasn't just cleaning out the garage. It was once you got everything out of the garage, then you had to paint the garage. And the stuff that you didn't want in the garage, you'd find a place for it, either donating it to someone or something, or then the invention of something that came along in my childhood that now has become a part of corporate America, yard sales. I cannot believe the stuff that people throw out. It blows my mind. I'm driving home, especially on the weekends, because trash usually is like Monday or Tuesday, right? Or maybe even Wednesday, but it's out on the curb. I will see pieces of furniture that look mint. I will see pool supplies this time of year because of the summer weather. Porch furniture because of people getting new. The throwaway society that we are. And I know some people that back in the day, they would take a month to prepare for a weekend yard sale that usually is Memorial Day or 4th of July weekend. And people will sit on a lawn chair on their lawn or in their driveway with an old cigar box and basically minister change to people who say, oh, I only have a $20 bill. And I will hear them bicker over 25 cents, over 50 cents. And then you'll simply say to them, is this really worth all the time and energy? Well, I made a couple of grand. And I'm thinking, all summer? No, this weekend. So it is amazing, the world that we live in today, as opposed to the world that was a part of this time that I've been trying to discuss with you about World War I and World War II. Two generations, one mainly immigrants who came through Ellis Island from places like Ireland and Poland and Italy and Germany, who wanted to make a better way for themselves, and people who were born dirt poor in this country, who migrated from places all over the country to the industrial market that was Western Pennsylvania because of the steel industry and the automobile industry that started to become a big part of our country's future. And all they did was want an opportunity, and they came here to raise their families and lived in places like New York City, which still is crowded, 10 million, but back then, layer upon layer upon layer of immigrants. Push carts out in front, selling everything that these people would need. A needle and thread to fix their clothes because they weren't buying new clothes. Every type of food you could imagine because there wasn't that grocery store, or as we now have, that supermarket at the end of Main Street. And it was still horse and buggy, and it was a very tense time in the summertime because of the heat. So people would be out on the stoop, kids playing stickball or kickball, all of the laundry hung over that line with a little extra care from one balcony across the street to the next. And all of the recipes and the food that they brought from some of those places became a part of who we are. And that was the American flavor. You see, what frustrates me so much about how people react to certain things happening in the country is we're all immigrants. The majority of us, I'd say over 80% of us, are connected to somebody who journeyed from another country. My family on my dad's side, from Canada to Missouri to Pennsylvania. My mother's family from Italy to Columbus, Ohio to Rochester, Pennsylvania. But the thing that really makes me struggle sometimes and chokes me up, we had a nation from that period of World War I, 1917 to 1946, that went through nothing but desperate times. Every day they woke up, every day their eyes opened, it was survival mode. It wasn't like, let me stretch and see what the weather is like. How should I dress today? No. They weren't walking because they needed to decompress, or they weren't taking their dog for a walk because it was a way for them to relax after a busy day or the start of a day. They were walking miles to work and doing back-breaking work. And the people who were at home, mainly the incredible women, worked from sunup to sundown. Back-breaking work. Wringer washers. You didn't have a gas dryer or an electric dryer or an air fryer or a microwave. But we had togetherness in the country. And do you understand, like that good humor truck that I talked about? It's no longer here today because kids aren't playing outside today. And where did that good humor truck come from? World War II came to an end. World War I came to an end. More people moving to this country. More people moving out to the suburbs and leaving Main Street and those row houses that were built by the steel mills to get their slice of the American pie. And kids started to populate school districts and communities, and they were out 24/7 playing, even in the dead of winter. And somebody, I'm sure a veteran, said, you know, I'm going to take ice cream to them because they were a part of that drugstore counter where they would go in and have a banana split that was invented in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. So somebody has the bright idea, instead of putting them in the seats here, I'll put myself in a seat of an automobile and put a refrigerator box on top of this pickup truck, and I'll slap the name Good Humor on the side, get myself a little bell, I'll let them know I'm coming, and they will come. Build it, and they will come. And yes, that company known as Isley's, and something they were world famous for, that skyscraper cone, sometimes 3 or 4 of them on main streets from communities in Beaver County to Washington County to Butler County, and even in eastern Ohio, that connection there. That would eventually bring us Eaton Park. Families would be out driving to an Eaton Park. Back in the day when they would come out to the car, those car hops. And then people started to go inside. Families would gather. And that smiley face cookie, believe it or not, celebrating its 40th anniversary. All of this stuff that I'm talking about that we are hanging on to with both fists, that we should never let go, began with those generations. That generation that came through Ellis Island, those who were born here, even though they didn't speak the same language, they didn't practice the same religions, they didn't eat the same food, in many cases, sadly, didn't live in the same community. When it came to walking to work to build something to make America great, they did it. Shoulder to shoulder on assembly lines, not 8 hours a day with an hour's lunch, 12 hours a day with very little sleep, because when you went home, you had to weed your garden. You had to change the oil in your vehicle. You had to repair your roof. And yes, your wife was saying, look, this modern convenience known as a washer, it's on the blink. We're not calling the Maytag repairman. You're going to fix it. And if you can't, you know somebody that works with you who can fix it. And everybody had to have a radio. They had to know what was happening in their neighborhood and this community they called home. And all of those radios, when they were working in the garden, on the back porch, when they were in the kitchen cooking, on the windowsill in the kitchen. and softly on the bedstand at night just so they could stay plugged in. And then all of a sudden, they were hearing about what was happening in Europe. And then they realized it started in 1914, but sooner or later we were going to be drug into it to prevent Germany from winning that war, and we were. And people would listen, and then they listened through the 20s with all the glitz and glamour from Hollywood and everything that was the Roaring 20s. And then they all listened faithfully that day, 1929, the stock market crashes, people race to the banks to get their money. But FDR, the man that we began talking about yesterday, found a way. He shut the banks down for a week for everyone to catch their breath. And he basically went on the radio and said, I promise you, your money will be safe. And they were all worried what would happen when the banks would open, because if people made another run on the banks, the ones that were left open, that would crash our economy. And there was the fear of communism taking over, because the democracy that we loved and appreciated for so long left us at the altar, and everybody was looking for a better way of life, and even if it meant throwing democracy out the window. But once again, he called everyone's bluff, and he was right. And people not only left their money in, they put what little money they had under the mattress in so these banks could grow again and become profitable. All of this between the 19th, the 20th century, and where we are in 2026. And if you think about it, go back 50 years, maybe longer, when a lot of our woes began, Watergate, the economy, the mills shutting down, all the things that we've experienced here. The only reason we still have roads and bridges that are operating is because of the greatest generation. And where did their work ethic come? From the strength of their parents who raised them. So what are we doing? That's how we'll close out this hour when we come back, to teach work ethic, to teach patriotism, and how do we make it possible for our children and grandchildren to be able, like most of us, to celebrate 250 in July of this year, to do the exact same thing 50 years from now for that 300th birthday. Memorial Day weekend, we continue. Your Pratt Pack, KDKA.
When you need to know, depend on the news leader. At home, in your car, or at work. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM, AM 1020, and KDKA-radio.com.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Carpal tunnel syndrome. Heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
Everything you need, every time you listen. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
You know, I know RFK Jr. is trying to make us live happier and healthy lives, right? I get it. He's even, pinpointing what children need to do. The president's talking about bringing back the physical fitness thing that the presidents and the presidencies of past have made famous as far as getting young people to plug back into their health. But let me just say this. We're always looking to fix things in America, but we're not using the same recipe. I mean, think about it. We're trying to patchwork our economy. Every few weeks, we have legislation that is passed to keep the government up and running. We float more money to where we shouldn't be printing money at all anymore. We should be making money and circulating what we have, spending money to make money, right? But if we created a working class environment to where young people, young men and women, had to get up and physically build their bodies through hard work and exercise their mind by putting together the blueprint for that job, imagine where we would be. They'd be doing physically demanding work, so they wouldn't be counting calories. Some of the foods that have hurt them would not be hurting them. And they wouldn't be sitting in front of a computer screen or scrolling on their phones, eating the entire bag of chips. I'm just saying, when we were in motion as a child growing up in the 60s, nobody ever said, don't put sugar on that cereal. Nobody ever said, look, you want a cupcake? You better think about that. Nobody ever said, well, listen, maybe you should just have some vegetables or fruit for lunch. We ate in cafeterias every day where it was pizza day, it was meatloaf and mashed potatoes day, and if you were lucky, they were serving either chocolate or vanilla ice cream or cake, and you washed it down with a pint of ice-cold milk. Yeah, vitamin D, strong mind, bodies. Milk. It is a good thing. And we drank water out of the tap, and my mother seasoned everything, and with every meal, there was butter bread in Western Pennsylvania. And I don't think we actually know where our bread is buttered anymore, because we don't have a working class in this country. We don't have a middle class in this country. And I firmly believe the majority of problems that this country has is because we've lost our way. And I've told this story, and I'll say it again, and I was the guilty party, where I started to realize that I needed to reel it in and be a better parent, how the world was slipping through our fingers, and it was happening in front of my very eyes, and I was guilty of it. So I love feeding my children. I love buying groceries. It's still the greatest gift that anyone can give any child or family or friend. You buy a bag of groceries, you've done something. That's the gift that keeps on giving. And it also is not only good substance as far as taste is concerned, but you need to eat to live. So I'm there with my children one time, and everybody is eating something different. Slice of pizza, a sandwich, some chips, a salad, and I went, my goodness. Can you imagine growing up in that house with 5 sisters in a life so long ago that it's kind of fading as we speak? If my father would have seen all of us eating something different, or if we would have had the nerve to say, I want this, I don't want that, and could you do it this way? That would have lasted all but 30 seconds. Listen, it was so regimented when I was a kid. We would go to McDonald's every 2 weeks, payday, right? Before we would go grocery shopping as a family, which was a huge night out. You should try it sometime. A lot of joy. Love taking my kids grocery shopping. We would pull into McDonald's and my dad would go, small Coke, small fry, hamburger. But to my one sister, you can have fish and a vanilla milkshake, because that's what she wanted. She was the only one that got to buck the system because she liked their filet of fish sandwiches. But that's a fact. But we didn't look at the menu. We didn't order what we wanted. And you see, what we need to do moving forward, we have to plug our children into what we did, we baby boomers. And even you millennials are starting to age out. Because we need a semblance. We need discipline. We need, here's the key word, we need structure in America. You know, we talked about John McCain to begin the hour. Trending story, ABC News Radio, all the major news outlets. His son, Doug McCain, 66 years of age, found dead. No cause of death. But people need to tell the story of John McCain and who he was and what he overcame. People need to tell the story of your aunts and uncles and what they did during World War II or great-great-grandparents during World War I. You need to tell those stories, those heroes that walked amongst us and what they did, the Vietnam veteran, all of it, Afghanistan. When these military personnel come back from Iran, if they feel the need to tell their story or their time of service, let them do it. Take your child to a cemetery, explain those who've made the ultimate sacrifice. Go to Main Street, wherever Main Street is for you. If there is a parade tomorrow, stand there. If you have your grandchildren and they're too little to stand, put them on your shoulders. Make them peek over the crowd to see what truly is America. Because you see, those parades are far and few between. And they're starting to shrink as we speak. But the men that I witnessed in their 40s who were 20 years removed from fighting in places like the Battle of the Bulge, Normandy, the Philippines, the Pacific, had gained some weight because of that home cooking. They were proud to break bread with their children every single night. And even though a couple of those buttons wouldn't fasten on that uniform that they wore so well so many years ago, when many of them returned home to ask the question, will you marry me, to their sweetheart, the gleam was still in their eyes. The belief of this country was still in their heart. The flag that they were proud to represent was waving proudly from the front porch of each and every one of these homes that they built some 20 years later with sweat equity and the help of a love that lasted until their last breath. We have to remind our children, freedom is not free. What you have every day, you've got to go out and earn it. Don't expect opportunity to truly come knocking. You've got to seize the moment, and when opportunity is available on that door of opportunity, you kick it in. And you do everything humanly possible to pass on the message of what this weekend is about, what our democracy is about, what the founding fathers did as we get ready to celebrate 250. Because what you do now by teaching and educating is going to give us a fighting chance to be able to do the same thing as we approach birthday number 300. So God bless the men and women of our military, and to those who've made the ultimate sacrifice. And again, thoughts and prayers go out to truly a patriot of epic proportion, his family, the late Senator John McCain, on the death of his 66-year-old son. That story breaking in the last hour, Doug McCain. All right, stay with us. News coming up, and then Accurate Solutions. We'll be back in an hour after a brief break with the 2-hour edition of the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show, KDKA. Good morning.
While you sleep, there are people you've never met who are working hard to make your morning. People who get up at ungodly hours to make sure you get the information you want. People who dedicate their lives to make yours better while you sleep. These people come together during the Big K Morning Show with Larry Richert, 5:30 to 10 in the morning, to make sure you have the best news, traffic, and weather to start your day. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
What if you could buy a flippable two-sided mattress made with the finest materials that cost less than other luxury brands? This is Greg Trzynski of the Original Mattress Factory, and this is exactly what you'll find with our new Orthos line, available exclusively at OMF. We build these by hand using premium materials like wool and cotton. It's old-world craftsmanship with modern comfort, our most extraordinary sleep system. Built locally at a price other luxury brands just can't match. Visit the Original Mattress Factory and experience the Orthos line for yourself.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My best advice to you when hiring a lawyer for your injury case is simple. If you know court personnel, ask them who they'd hire. They know. If you know an insurance adjuster, ask them. They know. And then ask them about us. Ask them about Morgan & Morgan. They know. I look forward to talking to you soon. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm for the people.
Injured? Dial Pound Law.
Morgan & Morgan, 603 Stanwyck Street, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania lawyer will handle Pennsylvania cases. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Thinking about starting weight loss treatment? GoodRx is here to help.
We offer FDA-approved GLP-1 medications prescribed by licensed providers, including the Wegovy tablet, with straightforward pricing and pickup at your local pharmacy or delivery to your door. All from America's #1 prescription app. Go to goodrx.com/weight-loss to get started. GoodRx is not insurance. Cancel anytime. #1 prescription app ranked by a third-party study.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from IQ Bar. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at eatiqbar.com/policy/terms of service.
Most protein bars are packed with sugar, carbs, and unpronounceable ingredients. There's a much better option. I'm Will, and I crafted IQ Bar plant protein bars with clean, functional, delicious ingredients to empower doers like you with superior brain and body fuel.
Now you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping when you text radio to 64,000. That's radio to 64,000.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 62 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 10 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. Doug McCain, a Navy pilot and the eldest child of the late Senator John McCain, has died suddenly at the age of 66. That's according to his family this morning. The cause of death, not immediately known. Doug was the son of John McCain's first wife, Carol Shep. McCain adopted him when he and Shep were married in 1965. Again, Doug McCain dead this morning at the age of 66, oldest son of the late Senator John McCain. President Trump is declaring a peace deal with Iran he's declaring that peace deal will be announced shortly. Trump making that announcement after a call with Gulf leaders and officials and a separate call with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Here's the latest from ABC's Alex Perche in Washington.
Big concerns over an Iran deal from Israel. A source familiar with the situation tells ABC News that there is serious concern and disappointment because Israel says it signals to Iran they can use the Strait of Hormuz as a weapon. Netanyahu is scheduled to hold a security meeting with his defense officials later today.
A man was arrested Saturday and charged with burglary and aggravated indecent assault. Pittsburgh police arrested 29-year-old Charles Willis. Police say he had confessed to the crimes that were committed in Oakland early Thursday morning at a residence in the 3400 block of Parkview Avenue. Willis is also facing loitering, indecent assault, prowling at nighttime, and harassment charges. He's being held at the Allegheny County Jail. Well, that large 4-foot piece of copper from a boiled kettle that was stolen from the Penn Brewery a week ago has been found and returned. Historic piece was found by Pittsburgh